We have a football game to react to. It's been so long. It's a preseason game. It's a preseason loss. And the starting quarterback may have only played 14 snaps, but that's fine. We'll take what we can get. We're happy to have you for the next 3 hours. It's Robert, Lucas, and me. We're all here. It's the only day that all three of us are going to be here because hitting the road again tonight to head on down to not Atlanta, but Flowery Branch, where the Falcons practice facility exists. 2 more days of joint camp, another preseason game, but football. Merciful, beautiful football is what we have on tap today. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to get in there. The F&M Bank Chat also available to you. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Hey, boys, been a while.
Titans went 3-0 in the preseason last year.
Yeah.
And then went 3-14 in the regular season.
So they need to go 0-3 in the preseason to have an undefeated season in the regular season, which is what
I can feel the fortunes changing.
Okay, very good.
Tyler Dial says, I've seen enough. Build the statue on the F&M Bank Chat.
To who?
Who do you think?
Oh, Cam? Okay, I don't know. You could be talking about Brandon Allen or Tim Boyle.
Thought he was talking about Bill.
Belichick? Yeah, that's
I
overdue.
assumed he was carrying our conversation over from last week.
So I don't know how the two of you experienced it because obviously Lucas had Titans radio obligations. His first run around as pre and post game host. I was sitting in a very muggy Tampa Bay press box and praying to God, to the football gods, that the Lightning did not delay us in the preseason. We were able to get out pretty cleanly on that. Now, there was an injury on the side of the Titans. The Bucs also had a couple of injured players due to the field conditions. I don't know what it looked like on the television broadcast to you guys, but like being down on the field and like listening to the amount of Titans coaches and support staff that were wringing their hands on, do we actually have to play on this surface? This is garbage. What are we doing out here? It was disconcerting, but save Tajay Spears, everybody else gets out pretty cleanly on that front, but it is unfortunate that Tajay Spears is probably going to miss the rest of the preseason with what is being described as a high ankle sprain. A guy whose availability was going to be scrutinized this year starts off, unfortunately, after a 13-yard catch, going down and grabbing at his right ankle, leaves the locker room on crutches and in a walking boot.
Unfortunate for Tajay. Very unfortunate. What do you make of this comment from Tyler that the second drive from the Titans, the touchdown drive where Cam connected with Calvin Ridley 3 times for 50 yards, ended in a Tony Pollard touchdown, offense gets off the field, starting offense is done. Tyler says that drive was the most exciting that Titans football has been since Will Levis's first game against Atlanta. Is there something to that?
I mean, it might be. It might be so. Exciting in a positive way because there were plenty of exciting moments or excitable moments in Will Levis's disaster plays as well, but I suppose you mean to the affirmative as opposed to the things that make you literally tear your hair out of your skull. So
there might be something to that.
Well, not even because Cam Ward is the quarterback and he dropped back and he threw a 27-yard pass to Calvin Ridley, but because he was protected.
The protection on that deep shot to Calvin. Yeah. I mean, he had all day against Bucks second and 13
That's fine.
defense.
I don't care. Like, I saw a quarterback drop back. I saw him have more than 3 seconds to complete a pass. And I saw a 27-yarder that got him across midfield en route to a scoring drive. I don't care who was out there on the field. You play against who you play against. And by God, if they didn't hold up in protection for, a couple of different plays on that drive. Now, it doesn't mean that they're going to be an all-pro unit in 2025. Probably not, but it's okay. You take what you get.
I think there's something to that. Maybe not the Atlanta game, because we're talking about that warm, fuzzy feeling of, we might have a quarterback, right? Like that feeling of abundant hope and optimism is unlike any other in football. Even when things are bad, Titans fans had that feeling in the Levis game against Atlanta. They had that feeling in Miami, too, when he led that comeback on Monday Night Football late in the season. But they certainly have not had that feeling until the preseason game.
It's been
And it's one drive,
long.
and it's one preseason game. I mean, we're literally talking about 5 completions on one drive, bringing back that feeling. But I do think Titans fans have that feeling, for better or for worse.
It's a preseason game. Preseason is a liar. Training camp is a liar. There's a lot of different things that we will try to assign great value out of that will not have any bearing on the regular season. But you take what you can get at this point in time, and we have actual things to talk about, and we have context on a couple of different things that do matter for the purposes of our discussion today. So for Cam specifically, you know, the 3rd and 5 was much discussed because the Titans go out there 3 and out. Bucks have 22 offensive plays in the first quarter of that game to the Titans 3 because they're running the ball effectively enough. And Kyle Trask out there whipping it down the field early on, taking shots. It turns out Tampa's got really good receivers no matter who's playing.
No, but stock up Bucks backup quarterbacks.
Seriously.
Like both of them kind of dealing out there.
Oh, and compare, well, especially juxtaposed between what was on the field for the Titans because, oh my God, Tim Boyle.
But Kyle Trask, I mean, just moving the ball up and down the field to help that the Bucks were able to run the football at will, especially in the first half and in the fourth quarter. But Connor Bazelak came in and kind of made a good account for himself as well.
So you get the first drive. Titans only get 3 plays in the first frame. Then you get to the second drive, and you're like, all right, just show me a little something. Show me a little something here. And he drops back. He gets the 27-yarder to Ridley. And honestly, that's not the most impressive thing that happened on that drive, at least to me. And you can tell me how you feel about this. Because Calvin Ridley gets called for offensive pass interference on the very next play.
Yep.
And they get backed up. 1st and 20, so you give 10 yards of that 27-yard completion back, and then very quickly he completes 2 more passes to Calvin Ridley, and the drive keeps moving, and 1st and 20 doesn't bother a Titans offense. They're able to overcome a self-inflicted wound, a sin, as they've been dubbing them here in the last couple of months. The fact that they got put at least in one adverse situation and were able to overcome it is a positive to me. That was probably the most positive thing that I saw on the night. Now, should that drive have been ended because, what's 32's name? Jacob Haynes, Cam Haynes, something Haynes, for the Buccaneers, Josh Haynes. Josh Haynes had 2 hands on a Cam Ward, should have been interception, and the drive should have ended right there.
Yeah. Do you think he would have kept playing? Do you think they would have rolled him out for another series?
Not on that field.
No matter what?
Not on that field.
Okay.
I think they were hesitant to put him out for the second one. If the first one had not been a 3 and out, I don't know if he would have gone back out there.
I'm glad they did put him out for the second one.
Well, and he wanted to go back out for a third because he tasted blood. He's like, oh, points, let's go.
No, it felt right to pull him in that moment.
So I was most impressed with the 1st and 20 and how they dug themselves out or pulled themselves out of the hole that they put themselves in, because there will be moments. And I think that's, again, it's 14 plays. So you try not to make too much out of 14 plays because there's 80 plays in any given game, or somewhere ballpark 70 to 80 plays in any given game. But for what you saw, I thought it was pretty reasonable to say that's what you should expect from the Titan season. There will be moments where they don't look that good. There will be moments where he shows you some stuff that makes him worthy of the number 1 overall draft pick, and you're going to have some improvements in a couple of different areas. I was pleased with Dan Moore. I was pleased with J.C. Latham. I was happy to see Rupchich and Corey Levin hold up pretty well, both in the running, the rushing offense and in the pass game. So enough. Now, if Calvin Ridley goes down, they're banged. That's just what it is. I don't think Tyler Lockett is going to be able to shoulder the load that way, but we knew that going in. So you take it for what it's worth, and what it's worth is not very much right now. 29-7, the final score. The starting offense is the only one who was able to put together points on any given drive, though there are some other drives that are worth talking about here for no other reason than operational issues seem to sandbag them, and also their backup quarterbacks may just suck. But it was nice to have a football game, nice to cover a football game, nice for you guys to watch a football game or listen to Titans Radio in their new iteration debut. I'm sure many of you enjoyed that as well. We'll have some Taylor Zarzer and Coach Matt calls to mix in throughout the course of the day. And today, Lucas, we begin our football season coverage because we're going to start having guests every day, one guest every day, except for Wednesday right now, who's going to make us significantly smarter about the game of football. Today, it is going to be Brett Kern. Ben Jones is also going to be a part of our weekly coverage. So Ben, Brett, Nate Washington is also going to be a part of the show on a weekly basis, and our buddy Jason Fitz from Yahoo Sports will be with us on Tuesdays in the fall, and we're very excited to get going with Brett and Bryce Kern, who will probably come for all of our jobs one day.
Thank God. Thank God we get someone that knows what they're talking about around here.
Robert's probably the most football savvy of the three of us. And if that's the bar, then we got to we got to try to elevate a little bit.
You got to stop saying that. You've got to let me have success in silence, though, because it's kind of like when you get introduced to somebody and they're like, oh, this is the funniest guy I know. Then they instantly look at you and they're like, make me laugh, funny boy.
Damn.
Tell a joke.
Dance, clown.
Yeah, come on. I know you've got a joke in there. So just let people think I'm dumb. I prefer that.
Oh, no, I'm happy to.
Yeah.
Set the bar low, and he can get over it every time.
Every time.
Well, nobody would look at you and assume that you got a more than a 20-inch vertical, bud. Respectfully.
All right. Now, see, you just had to take it just another step further.
You don't think that I have a 20-inch vertical? Is that what you said?
I don't think you have a 20-inch anything.
Yeah, I don't. I was like, I don't even know what my vert is. I'm not a very high jumper.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's a safe assumption.
I mean, I just don't run across a lot of jumps in my everyday life. Like, okay, let me give you a jump real quick, and you tell me how high you think I jump.
Jump. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, and that was pretty good.
Maybe like
He wasn't even looking at you.
That was pretty good.
He has
do I
his
need to
back
jump
turned.
off a chair so you
No.
can see my jump point?
No. There's enough chairs taking enough beatings around here that we don't need to put in any additional strain on them.
We'll do it in the 11.
Okay.
Quickly, before we do stock up, stock down for the first preseason game, around the room, one word to describe Cam Ward's preseason debut for the Titans.
Solid.
Efficient.
Your word?
No, I just was curious about y'all's.
Yeah. You can provide a word if you would like. If
Yeah,
you would
well,
like to participate in your own
I'm
exercise.
curious of what your word would be.
I would say promising.
So, solid, promising, and what was yours?
I want to change it.
No, it's too late.
No, I want to change it to wonderful, but make it Ward.
You proud of what you did there?
No, it was awful.
Okay.
Should have stuck with my initial.
That's it was a bold play by you, which is why we need Brett Kern to come in here and elevate the level of discourse after game. So yeah, we're really grateful to Brett and to Ben and Nate Washington and Fitzy who are going to make themselves available to us on a weekly basis on the radio show, because we do like to have a lot of fun, but we do need to be educational from time to time, and who better to do that than the four of them. So we'll look forward to Brett Kern joining us today in the noon hour. And in the meantime, we'll take your phone call, 615-737-1045. Whose stock rose? Whose stock down? We'll do stock up, stock down as we are wont to do each and every Monday following a Titans game. So I need your stock up and stock down candidates. We'll open the trading floor and give you ours coming up next. Trajan Wealth is here to help you like they've helped so many other clients achieve that financial independence, achieve that peace of mind that comes with financial independence, how important that can be. As a veteran, Trajan Wealth CEO Jeff Jr. fully appreciates the importance of true independence. He founded Trajan Wealth as an independent firm, allowing fiduciary advisors the ability to customize a portfolio to meet your unique goals and needs. Call Trajan Wealth to discuss options for achieving that financial independence today. There are two locations here in Middle Tennessee, Brentwood and Franklin. Their number is 615-270-5000. That's 615-270-5000. And visit them online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement. Welcome back to the show. Was that a cow? Fueled by Hattie B's hot chicken. I'm disoriented. There's a lot of things going on. Is this our new stock up, stock down music?
This is, are you familiar with the Wall Street extraordinaire John Bradshaw Layfield?
No.
Made a lot of his money in the oil fields of Texas. He was a professional wrestler. This was his entrance music.
Oh, fantastic.
We'll eventually get the stock noise again, but I knew we had music where we use the stock, and I was like, oh, we're just going to use JBL's music.
But was that, in fact, a cow mooing in the background?
Yeah,
As I said, the show is fueled by hot chicken.
He's a Texan. He played at Sam Houston State, I believe.
Okay, very good.
We're just stealing the Chick-fil-A thing of cows advertising to eat chicken instead of beef.
What haven't we stolen on this radio show?
Would you prefer me to replace the mama with the cow moo?
I think we need variety. I think... because now people have come to expect every time we play audio, there's just going to be Bert in the background saying, Mama!
Replace Mama with Moo Moo.
He's like, what's that smell? Well, he continue to change whatever the background noise is.
Random things. The Howard Dean. Yeah!
I love the Dean scream.
Ooh, is that what I will affectionately call it? The Dean scream for the rest of my life?
What it's called.
That's what it is.
Lost the man in the presidency at one point in time because that used to count as unhinged behavior from politicians. Now look around. Anyway, stock up, stock down. Whose stock rose, whose stock fell from the Titans' first game. We will do this each and every day following a Titans game. I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be a Monday, though I don't think there's no Thursday night football for the Titans this year, right?
No, there's no prime time.
Okay, so we'll do it every Monday.
How is that not? How do you even have to ask that question? The amount of time we spent talking about them not having a single primetime game when the schedule came out.
Thank God, by the way, because there's so much time to kill on a game day. You're just waiting around for this thing to happen. Unfortunately, all of their preseason games are at night, but that's neither here nor there. Stock up, stock down. I will start the bidding. I will take the most obvious thing off the board. I will take Cam Ward to Calvin Ridley. Stock up on that connection, 3 for 3 for 50 yards. It all happened in the second drive, and that's fine. But the fact that the number one wide receiver on this football team and the quarterback seem to be in rhythm, that's not a talking point the way that it was for Will Levis and Calvin Ridley. All of the vibes around that specifically are high, and they don't get in the red zone. They don't get the opportunity to score points in that preseason game without Calvin Ridley, who accounted for 50 of the 65 yards on that. What did it end up being? An 11-play drive that Tony Pollard was able to punch one in for and give the Titans offense their only points of the evening. Stock up, Ward to Ridley.
Yeah, that is going to be a consistent connection throughout the course of the season. The conversation is, who is wide receiver 2 for the Titans this year? Strictly in terms of production. Who will end up, and it's a conversation for another day.
Oh, I'll tell you right now.
Who will end up being the Titans' second lead receiver in 2025?
I think I have the answer.
Who do you think?
Do you want to lock it in, or are you going to... That wasn't a play on words to say Taylor Lockett. Do you want
really?
to lock it in?
I really thought that's what you were doing.
Do you want to lock it in now, or do you want to wait until we do our entire season expectations show?
That seems weird for me to plug the second lead receiver on the football team when we do season expectations before the season actually begins. So I'll just say Gunnar Helm.
It wouldn't be shocking.
Tight end 1.
But I think that is a conversation that is wide open for Tyler Lockett to step into, for Gunnar Helm to step into, for Elikayu Manor to step into, though didn't see a whole lot of him on Saturday night. Calvin Ridley, the FNM Bank chat is talking about it now. You want to draft somebody, if you're one of those fans that when you're doing your fantasy draft, you want to have at least one guy from the team that you support on your fantasy football team.
Do you?
See, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that I think operate that way. You know, just want to have one to represent. See if you can't get Calvin Ridley on your fantasy football team.
I don't know. If Tajay's going to be hurt, Tony Pollard's about to get some work. But
those are definitely the two. But I'd say Calvin Ridley is your number one of only 2 legitimately viable fantasy football players to take that play for the Titans. Calvin Ridley is very much at the top of that list.
Well, you got a bench too. You know, if maybe you don't get those guys, you can snag Gunnar Helm at the ass end of drafts and sometimes off waivers. If you truly believe what Buck is spewing, and I am also a truther. I need to figure out what we're called.
This was not an opinion I held until I talked to people on the team about it.
All right. If you would like to join Helm's Deep, then come on down.
That's so much better than the warden or whatever they're trying to prop up Cam Ward for, the psych ward. Helms Deep is so much better than that. You got to stock up or you want to do stock down?
What should we go? Should we go just stock up around the room?
Let's all
and then
do stock up.
All right, then I'm going to go Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard for, two reasons. One, that he scores the touchdown on Saturday night. Two, because Tyjae Spears goes down. And we're looking at a high ankle sprain as reported by Adam Schefter. Brian Callahan confirmed it is an ankle. Not sure the exact timeline, but this trend of lack of availability continues on for Tyjae Spears as the Titans wanted to go into this year maybe more with that 50-50 plan that they said they had for Spears and Pollard going into 2024. It's hard to do that when one of those two players continues to get hurt. So, unfortunately, it feels more likely than not that Tyjae Spears is going to miss the beginning of the regular season. And so I'm going to go Tony Pollard as this team's lead back.
And you can call in and submit your stock up, stock down if you would like. We'll get to your phone calls here in just a second. 615-737-1045 from the Titans' first preseason action. So that's one for Ward to Ridley. That's one for Tony Pollard. Robert, who is your stock up candidate, or what is your stock up candidate?
I'm going to go with the Titans' backup defensive line. Despite all the yards given up on the ground, I think most of that could be equated to...
Who is this Kimber individual that just...
Jalen Kimber?
One of the
terrible
worst
angle
plays I've ever seen a defensive player make on a football field. Jalen
but he's
Kimber,
not a defensive lineman.
Yeah, no, but he's a pre-cut as hell corner.
But back to the defensive line. Last week, I poo-pooed the depth that the Titans had. I'm still going to slightly poo-poo it, maybe a tiny little like goat turd on it. But I will say I was impressed with their depths. Isaiah Rakes ended up with a pass deflection. Timmy Horn had a tackle for loss. Both of them ended up with, I think, above 5 combined tackles for both of those individually.
Cam Horsley forcing pressures.
Right. So, I mean, a lot of those guys came out and did what they needed to do.
Draymond Jones should have had a sack, but that
you should have picked the Titans' defensive line as your stock up. You got so many notes on them.
What else am I going to do for 3 hours sitting there in a press box?
I'm glad you have those notes because it was on my own personal hell Saturday where I could only hear the game and not see it. I missed every preseason. I was in here cutting highlights for Titans Radio, so I didn't get to watch the game. I had to listen to it. So I would hear it and I would be like, "Who did this? Who did this? I need to know. I need to see the field."
Oh, yeah, that would be frustrating.
I didn't get to see any other preseason games either. I've spent all weekend. I hit up Zach Lyons and Stoney saying I was rewatching preseason games.
Like a heroin addict running around back there.
I just needed to see the football. I missed it. Sounded great. I just like the visual.
See, I reacted differently to the defensive line depth. I thought they really struggled, especially in run defense. Without Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat, the Bucs backups ran all over the Titans on Saturday night.
And I want to clarify something really quickly because there was a designation for Jeffrey, or rather, there were designations for players who did not play in that game that said non-injury. There wasn't one next to Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons is not dealing with an injury. They just didn't want to put him out there.
Makes sense.
What I was told was any starters who started a fight in the joint camp practice, they were being told that they would have to play the entire game. And if a depth guy or a fringe roster guy started a fight, they would have to, or they would not play the entire game. That was the messaging from on high, whether that be coaching staff or front office.
Okay, good. Effective. But, I mean, so, like, are we disagreeing on the defensive line play, Robert, from Saturday?
All right, so
because I came away somewhat concerned about the defensive line.
Robert, you go ahead, but I have thoughts on this.
I didn't get to watch it live. I had to go rewatch it in the what's it called? What's the professional word for shorten?
Oh, condensed?
The condensed version of the game. I would say I didn't need the defensive line to make tackles. I just needed them to show me that they could pressure. Like, obviously, gap integrity is going to be a big part of it, but I could also think that part of it, the missed tackles, the 23-yard scamper, like, if you take away the X plays and running outside of the fourth quarter, I didn't think that was that important in the condensed version. But my bigger issue was that the defensive line contributed. I need linebackers to clean up. I need the people behind them to clean up. They're the ones occupying the space.
There was a lot of second-level stuff where you're putting the secondary in a spot where, Jalen Kimber is out there on an island, takes a terrible angle and who is it, 49 for the Bucks? He tried to score like 3 different times. And
Owen Wright, the running back.
They kept getting called back.
2 touchdowns called back for holding. He ended up getting 1 in. But, I mean.
Owen Wright.
I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. Just I think both of us are looking at different things.
Yeah.
I was more impressed with them based on my level of expectation for them.
I had 0 level of expectation for them, so that's probably the purview with which you and I are looking at this.
And Timmy Horn ended up with the co-lead or led the team in tackles alongside Cedric Gray with 7 apiece. I'll put it this way. I wrote D-line depth in on stock down, and then I crossed it out because I said, well, is it stock down when that's kind of what I thought about the defensive line depth going into the game? I was concerned about D-line depth going in, and then I saw the D-line struggle to stop the run without Simmons and Sweat going up against Bucks backups. And I wrote down D-line depth as an instinct, and I said, no. That's what I expected of this D-line depth. So I'm not going to say stock up or stock down. I'm going to say exactly what I thought of them going into the game is kind of how it played out for me.
That was 41 attempts by Bucks ball carriers for 178 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2 were called back.
I would say that my expectation is that they were all Dookie. So the fact that they made any kind of impact on the game through tackle contribution or pass deflection or tackle for a loss, anything on top of that was icing on the cake for me. So the fact that they were somewhat formidable, maybe not in the run defense, but at applying pressure, playing the game, yada, yada, yada.
It's like Robert's vertical. The bar is low.
Well, the defense definitely had struggles overall. I mean, just early on, some of the
missed tackles.
Yeah, some of the substitution stuff, right, where you're lining up with 10 men on the field and have to call a timeout. I mean, the Titans defense gave up, I wrote it down, 143 yards in the first quarter. I mean, the Bucks just getting up and down the field, taking whatever they wanted. Starters only played 1 series. And it was a field goal drive by the Bucks to open things up.
And Jeff and Sweat were not with the starters.
Right. So obviously all worth noting. But yeah, I thought the Titans defense did not come away exactly with glowing reviews.
Especially because, did you watch the preseason broadcast back? I did yesterday when I got home. I landed pretty early yesterday. So I got the opportunity to watch Charles Davis and Paul Burmeister on WKRN, and Charles Davis, before the game started, was talking about their meetings with Denard Wilson and how Denard Wilson had made it clear that nobody's going to run on us this year because the Titans' run defense was horrendous last year. And then you come away from that. I understand it's preseason. I understand that there's going to be more things that they do to try and stifle teams. But
and who are your best run stoppers on the football team?
For sure.
Right. They're obviously Simmons and Sweat.
So I just think it was a tough look when Charles Davis was making sure to highlight the fact that Denard Wilson is emphasizing run defense, and then they give up 178 yards on the ground. And the head coach yesterday is telling us, that number sucks. Which is accurate.
So, I mean, I think that tells you that it was a takeaway for the coaching staff.
Yes.
How poor they were against the run.
All right. Stock down Tyjae Spears. I hate it for him. So what? It's an ankle sprain, a hammy, and 2 concussions last year. That cost him. He goes from playing or appearing in all 17 games as a rookie and showing enough promise behind Derek, who's obviously going to get the lion's share of carries in any offense that he's in, and us being cautiously optimistic about, all right, Tyjae Spears, maybe there's something here, looking to find an impact player in the 3rd round. A lot of people not crazy about drafting a running back in the 3rd round when Derrick Henry was still on the roster, but promising rookie season, or at least, potential in his rookie season. He only plays in 12 games last year, and it's never really looks the way that they or I think the audience wanted it to look in 2024. He comes out. He doesn't have success running the ball in this game. I think he finished in the negative as far as his yardage.
-1 was his net yardage. He had 3 attempts on the ground, 1 catch on his only target, which was a 13-yard catch and run.
That's where he gets hurt.
Yes.
So, you hate it for Tyjae because it's not like it's injury prone is tough to say because none of these things are connected save the concussions.
And none of them have anything to do with what the primary concern around him was coming out with the knees.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like the meltdown that Titans fans had.
What do you mean he doesn't have an ACL?
The team drafted a running back without an ACL. I remember we were making jokes, can't tear one if you don't have one, right? No. And then he has this just long line of injuries in the the 2nd and 3rd years of his career, and none of them have anything to do with the knee. So it is unfortunate. The stock is down for Tyjae Spears.
So, at least the rest of the preseason, he'll miss with the high ankle sprain. Left on crutches and in a walking boot on his right foot when I saw him leaving the locker room heading to the bus on Saturday night. Unfortunate for him, but, you know, it's just you can't count on him until he can be counted on. And right now it's always a talking point, his availability, unfortunately, for Tajay.
Yeah. Should we go quickly around the room, stock up?
Well, no, because we're doing stock down.
We just did stock down, did we not?
No, we did stock up. You made your stock. You made Robert's stock up.
Oh, you just did your first stock down.
Yes, correct.
Okay. I'm going to go cornerback depth.
Okay.
Defensive back struggled. You mentioned Jalen Kimber, poor angles, Gabe Judy-Lawley, I don't think covered himself in glory. We only got one series from the starting defense, but as we mentioned, Kyle Trask was fantastic for the Bucs. 12 of 16, 129 yards, a rating of 98.2. Connor Bazelak was impressive as well. 6 of 9 for 48 yards for the former Missouri and Indiana quarterback, right? I think he had like a pit stop in Indiana. You wouldn't know.
I have no idea.
So cornerback depth,
You're looking at
especially
me like I'd know it.
hearing Brian Callahan talk about L'Jarius Sneed, maybe even being behind Lloyd Cushenberry in his timeline to return to injury.
Not maybe.
And we're talking about an offensive lineman that had an Achilles injury in November.
Mid-November.
Last year?
Mid-November.
Being on track to come back before the cornerback who said he's as healthy as he's been a couple of months ago.
The optics are not good.
It's not great.
I know that he was... Anyway, we'll spend more time on that later, but yeah, I would say that's a fair stock down. All right, Robert, give me one. Since Lucas yucked your yum on stock up.
I'm going to go special teams, but only for the fact that the Titans didn't score enough that you would get to see their kick return defense. You only got one return out of Raheem Jarrett. The other one was a touchback. We didn't get to see a punt return. James Prochet had a decent returner with 30 yards.
Your boy.
Got called back.
Mason Kinsey holding.
Well, doesn't count. Books don't even show it. Says that he returned one time for 1 yard, so...
Mason Kinsey worried that James Prochet going to edge him out. I'm going to negate your long return with a hold. Get out of here.
But also, offense couldn't put themselves in good enough position for Joey Sly to even kick a field goal.
Yeah.
In these games, I would like to see them get practice in every opportunity.
Well, they did because they went for it on 4th and 2, but famously that 4th and 2 did not go well, which we will talk about later on in the show.
They were in field goal range. Were you all surprised that they put Jaquan Jackson back there as often as they did?
Yes.
I was too. He started, right?
Yes.
Didn't he have the first punt return? Wasn't he back there first?
I can find out specifically for you. I don't remember that.
It says he had a fair catch. So
I can look that up for you during the break.
Okay.
I've got the game book here.
It was a touchback. I'm pretty sure Jaquan Jackson, the first Bucs punt was a touchback. So the play-by-play doesn't show who was back there. But I'm pretty sure, I remember making note that Jaquan Jackson is the first punt returner that they rolled out there.
To be honest, 19 and 13 looked interchangeable from my vantage point. So
we have
the numbers on the jersey.
Mentioned stock down on Titans quarterback depth. It was rough. What was it? A 0.6 rating for Tim Boyle.
I saw the hashtag Lance That Boyle making its way around. It turns out he's still not good. Like he's never been good. I mean, all right, Cosell keeps trying to sell me on he's a really, really smart guy, and that's fine. Like, he can tell you what he's supposed to do, but then the actual execution of it is not good.
But also, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I got a lot of pushback on that on Twitter on Saturday night.
It doesn't matter.
I agree with you, but there are some of the people out there that say, we can't stay in this backup quarterback situation. All right, if the one goes down, I don't want them to win games.
Yeah. And also, I think stock up on Jarvis Brownlee Jr. quickly. Tell me if y'all disagree.
Well, yeah, they're going to need him. L'Jarius Sneed still.
Well, because they're going to need him. And in the one series on the starting defense, he had some excellent man coverage on Emeka Egbuka on a ball down the sideline and contributed to that.
And no penalties for Jarvis Brownlee, which is something to watch this year after he had quite a few in his rookie season. All right, very good. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in now quickly. And I want to point this out, and it's a point that I will borrow from Nick Suss because he pointed this out to us in the joint camp practices, and I think this is part of why Jaquan Jackson might have fielded the first punt. Suss thinks they're trying to hide James Prochet.
Trying to hide as in bury him on practice squad so nobody scoops him up? Or?
Make it less evident that James Prochet might be a fringe roster candidate. And so they're not interested in seeing somebody else pick up James Prochet if they can potentially squeeze him through. That was the working conspiracy theory at practice on Thursday.
Interesting.
I think that might, I don't think it's something that you could rule out, something they wouldn't cop to.
I feel like there'd be enough personnel people working for NFL organizations that it's hard to hide a player like that.
You would also think that you would not have a general manager that's scouted on vibes, but that's part of what the last guy got fired for, so you never know. 615-737-1045, Cushenberry and Sneed. We've got timeline updates. You'll hear from the head coach coming up next. So that is a Titans radio highlight. I didn't know. I honestly, I'm sure Mac and Zarzer did a great job. I didn't get a chance to hear it, obviously, sitting in the press box, but I did not know what to do with myself when Jihad Ward got that sack, because I've been using the same Mike Keith. I'm going to yell sack so MFing loud for Mike Keith meme for, I don't know, 10 years. And I kind of looked around and said, what do I do now? But that's Cam Ward to Calvin Ridley, 27 yards on the second drive, 14 total plays. The Titans starting offense. That was without 2 of the 5 starting offensive linemen. Lloyd Cushenberry is still on PUP, and Kevin Zeitler did not play because he's an old man and he doesn't need to play in the preseason, at the very least. I thought Rupchich and Levin did fine, but I would like to see Lloyd Cushenberry back as soon as humanly possible. And it sounds like we are on the precipice of seeing exactly that. Now, I don't know that he's going to come off PUP before preseason game number 2. I think it's way too premature to talk about that, but they're at least going to start his return to play protocol this week based on what Brian Callahan had to say in a Zoom press conference with all of us media vultures yesterday. Robert, at your convenience.
Sorry, I was on the phone for Sneed.
This is Cushenberry. At your
refrain from giving a timeline, but it's encouraging that hopefully we'll get him on the practice field with the group this week for the return to play process. Feel good about where he's at. He's worked really hard. There's optimism that he's on the right track. And again, we'll see as he gets out there. So encouraged though by where he's at.
Okay, well that's good. Lloyd Cushenberry was out there, doing some conditioning stuff during the joint work on Thursday, and there was so practice ends, and you've been out there, the two of you, when they've been running these wind sprints across the width of the field after practice here lately. And we were being cleared off because we weren't moving fast enough on the field. The media were, as we were making our way over to Cam Ward's podium for press conference. And so we all hit a jog because there's football players bearing down on us and we got to get out of the way. And Lloyd Cushenberry is running with us as we're trying to get out of the way. I think it was either Wyatt or Kaharski said something about, I can't let a guy on a bad wheel beat me. And Lloyd Cushenberry turned around and goes, not a bad wheel anymore. So I think that they're optimistic. He's optimistic. I don't want him pressed to try and get back sooner than he's ready. That's what this week is going to be about. It sounds like return to play protocol for an offensive lineman, a 300-plus pound human being coming off a torn Achilles in mid-November. And he's going to be ready before the corner that took a helmet to the quad. Now, I know I'm not going to get into injury comparisons because the degree of what the hell happened to L'Jarius Sneed sounds a lot more complicated than just a helmet to a quad. And I don't have the medical expertise
and
there.
The last Callahan talked about what's keeping him out now was not the quad. It was the knee scope, right? The knee he had cleaned up. I don't know if it was a scope exactly. Callahan said he had a knee cleaned up.
Correct.
In May?
In May.
Earlier this year. So that is at least what the Titans have told us.
Yes.
What is keeping Sneed out to this point?
That's fine.
If Lloyd Cushenberry is able to come back, if he's able to play week 1 against his former team in Denver, I mean, what a timeline there for an offensive lineman hurting his Achilles in November. That's crazy.
It makes me a little nervous. Like I said, I don't want him to feel pressed. I don't want him to rush back. I want them to be as cautious with him as humanly possible because he matters to the longevity of not just himself, but Cam Ward, too. And Corey Levin, I think, has done an admirable job handling all of this. But
it's definitely the depth spot on the offensive line you feel best about at this point. Center,
I would say.
Assuming Cushenberry does return healthy.
And that's very important. So you are correct to point out that it is a knee cleanup that most recently has prolonged L'Jarius Sneed's absence. I still think it is okay for fans to be annoyed by the fact that this corner who went down in week 5 is going to be less available or not available as Lloyd Cushenberry, who's a 320-pound offensive lineman with a blown Achilles.
Yeah, again, it's frustrating. He himself, Sneed himself, said, I'm as healthy as I've been.
Yeah, I don't like that.
That was in the middle of the summer, after the knee cleanup.
Now, he said, he didn't say as I've ever been. He said, I'm as healthy as I've been, which was the thing that I wanted to make sure that we hyper-focused on because I still don't know if that was done on purpose. Now, he's traveling with the team. He was signing autographs in the pregame tunnel down there on the field. He was talking with Mike Borgonzi pregame and stuff like that. Like, I have physically seen L'Jarius Sneed at all of these things, but he's just not doing anything. So I I don't know. I don't like to compare the injuries is not fair to either of them. But I think it is okay for fans to be slightly annoyed, even though there are two separate things talked about with L'Jarius Sneed right now, which is the quad injury that knocked him out of the 2024 season and the knee scope that has, or the knee cleanup. I think those two things are the same as far as I know, but I don't want to get into specifics without knowing them.
And the legal stuff is still kind of up in the air.
Oh, yeah, there's been no resolution.
Yeah.
Like, there could be a situation in which they medically clear him, and if there are charges that are levied against him in this lawsuit as opposed to allegations that are hanging over his head right now, like if charges come down, the legal recourse would not be to have him miss games, but the NFL's personal conduct policy could cause him to miss games, which would be that would be infinitely more annoying.
Robert, can we hear from Callahan on L'Jarius Sneed?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Okay. We'll be here.
As far as L'Jarius goes, he's still in the same process. I think he's getting better. He's coming along well. We'll see this week where that ends up. I'm probably a little more optimistic about Lloyd returning back to the process than LJ at the moment, but I think he's in a good spot, and we're feel good about where he's at.
Okay. So I guess you just got to take their word for it, but I don't know. Every time we have to have a L'Jarius Sneed conversation, I just kind of roll my eyes and sigh and say, okay, just whenever. Timeline updates are important. Fans are curious. Obviously, I'm sure fans saw, because he was also shown on the preseason broadcast, and then they very quickly put a graphic up over him and then showed Mike Borgonzi talking about what came over from the Chiefs organization, ignoring the fact that Mike Borgonzi traded L'Jarius Sneed to the Titans, or was a big part of trading L'Jarius Sneed to the Titans. It is an annoyance, and that is just something that people are going to have to deal with until such time as his return to play protocol. But even then, Lucas, like, what does the return to play protocol look like for him? Because it's different than anybody else on that roster.
Given the fact that Levin has been solid in place of Cushenberry, and cornerback depth is
Nightmare.
An issue right now, who do they need back quicker?
No, they need Sneed.
More than Cushenberry, you think? Because I don't think we were saying that recently when we were talking about this season is totally about Cam Ward needing his veteran center that, when healthy, is going to start.
I think
we had that discussion a few weeks ago, and we were saying, no, it's all about Cushenberry.
I would have to go back and refresh that conversation because I don't remember the exact nature of it. But I think seeing the cornerback depth, not just in games, but in practice and stuff like that, like, to support Cam Ward is also to help the defense get off the field.
No, it is a bigger need right now, given how Levin has held it down and what we know about Corey Levin. But again, to play devil's advocate in a season that is all about Cam Ward,
sure,
putting him in the best possible position to succeed. Love Corey Levin, but Lloyd Cushenberry playing center is that. So it doesn't change it for me.
He's supposed to be the best player on that defense.
Like Lloyd Cushenberry, he is. You're right. But Lloyd Cushenberry still, to me, is the most important player for what we want out of 2025 between he and Sneed.
Okay, I get the logic. And maybe it's recency bias because I don't. And the Bucs have really good wide receivers. Not everybody is going to be able to go 5 deep the way that Tampa Bay can and has designed their offense to be able to do. Because, excuse me, I just almost died.
What in the world?
I don't know why I'm having such a hard time breathing right now. I haven't smoked in a week. I've been in Atlanta, stuck in a hotel room, and I sound like I just smoked an entire pack of heaters. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah, you should really take better care of yourself.
Follow the Big Boss Burt plan.
What is that you're drinking? Put yourself on camera and show people that you told me you were drinking some combination of chia seeds and frog eggs. That was concerning.
I said that the chia seeds are the frog egg.
Maybe you'd feel better today if you drank chia seeds and frog eggs.
And
I almost just choked out on air.
I know you're not going to be the one talking about he said eat something healthy and trying to be healthy, do something good for myself.
Fat burners and whatever's in that liquid. That I don't even know what that container is that he's carrying around in there. Show people on camera what that thing is. Does that look like healthy to you?
It doesn't help that there's big clumps of there floating. It looks like dust bunny water.
I thought he seriously was, those like little,
It looks like you're drinking one of those toys that you had as a kid that had the water in it. You could launch the ball, try to get it in the hoop in the water. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but like, isn't there like a thing like sea monkeys or something like that? Isn't that a thing that people had when they're kids growing up? Is that Am I accurately describing that, or have I just tried to?
Yes,
Okay.
You were describing sea monkeys. I almost spit the water everywhere when Luke was like, "That's like that toy you used to play with." You, hey, look at all everything
Exactly what it
moving.
looks like. It's a see-through bottle.
Robert, it looks like you're drinking something that's molded.
It's not even a water bottle. It's just a rectangular.
I'm so confused. That can't possibly. That and fat burners and cigarettes and whatever else you're eating at night cannot possibly be good for you.
Well, it's sterile, and I like the taste.
615-737-1045 is the number. We'll get to your phone calls and also talk about what Tajay Spears' injury means for the rest of the Titans roster. I'm Buck Rising. It's 1045 The Zone. Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
It is 11:03. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Titans opened the 2025 preseason with a 29-7 loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Saturday night. Cam Ward got 2 series in with the starting offense, and after going 3 and out on the first series, he completed 5 balls on the second, finishing 5 of 8 for 67 yards. 3 of those completions going to Calvin Ridley for a combined 50 yards. Cam Ward's second series, a 65-yard touchdown drive that ended with a Tony Pollard 1-yard touchdown run. The Titans head to Atlanta this week for joint practice with the Falcons tomorrow and Wednesday ahead of week 2 of the preseason, taking on the Falcons on the road on Friday night. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second hour is upon us. Brett Kern will join us in studio for the final hour. We got your phone calls and some preseason reaction in between. 615-737-1045 is how you chime in if you want. Get your phone calls momentarily. I know we've been saying that this morning, but I swear to God we're going to do it. FNM Bank Chat also available to you. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Titans lose in Tampa Bay in a preseason game, but preseason, you take it with a grain of salt. How much the score actually matters in such things is to be debated. Your starting offense got points. The rest of your offensive units did not. And your defense gave up 178 yards on the ground. Not ideal. Plenty of things to clean up. Joint work in Atlanta starting tomorrow morning. I got home at little before 8 a.m. yesterday, and I'm heading to Atlanta tonight. So we'll be down there for joint training camp practices. We'll have some fun interviews as well. Lucas and Robert will hold it down here, and then a second preseason game on Friday evening at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Quickly, because there is the AP poll has officially come out, preseason AP poll for college football top 25.
That's right. It is officially out.
All right.
Before we discuss it any further, remember, it doesn't matter.
Like preseason.
It means nothing.
We're talking about a lot of things that don't matter today.
That's right. And in a couple of weeks, it will be rendered completely useless.
Yes.
Because we have no idea how good any of these teams are going to be, especially in the transfer portal era. With that disclaimer, now everybody freak out. Okay.
No, wait. We're going to do that, but I do want to talk about this running back thing first.
Do we have to?
Yeah, because we've got 2 hours of radio left to do. So I'm gonna stretch, if that's okay with you. I know you're excited. I know you're very happy about this thing that you just saw come across your timeline that you immediately told people it doesn't matter. Now let me tell you about all the things that I have to say about this thing that doesn't matter. But wait,
the only reason it's good to see the AP poll and it makes me happy is because it's just yet another indicator that college football is right around the corner.
Thank God. Also, Josh Pate show is back. Thank God.
Right. Quickly, where do you think Tennessee ranks?
They were 17th in the coaches poll?
18th.
I'm going to say 22nd.
25th. Or 24th, excuse me.
Whoa.
Just sneaking in there in the top 25.
Okay, who's 25th?
Boise.
Okay, we'll circle back around to that.
Who's 23rd?
Huh?
Who's 23rd?
Texas Tech.
All right, we're here now.
That would be Iowa State.
Give me the
Who's
top 25.
21st?
Ole Miss.
Who was 20th?
Bucks, Indiana Hoosiers.
19.
Oh,
Oh, now he's interested.
Whoa. Well, only because they're ranked higher than Tennessee, and I know that'll bother the holy hell out of people. The mighty Indiana Hoosiers, known football powerhouse.
I should have quizzed you on where Bucks quarterback Connor Bazelak played college football to expose your lack of Indiana football knowledge.
I have still... Well, that's not true. I think I watched 3 full Indiana games last year, which is more than I've ever watched in my life.
Where did Kyle Trask play college football?
Florida.
Okay. All right.
What about Michael Pratt?
Come on. He doesn't know. He has no idea.
I don't.
Take a guess.
It's a G5.
They have a really
yeah.
cool logo. Really
Tajay
cool
Spears.
mascot.
Oh, Tulane.
Hey, there you go.
See, I can do that. But anyway.
How many hints does it take, Buck, to figure out
Well,
where
just
this player played?
Tell me a player that played at their college, and I'll tell you where they played. That's easy for me. Anyway, the top 25, Indiana, you said 21st?
21st.
21st to Tennessee's 24th.
No. Indiana 20th. Ole Miss is 21st.
Okay.
And who's 19th?
That'd be A&M. Texas A&M.
Do you want to give us the top 5 since we're working our way up?
No, we're already at 18. Go 18.
Oklahoma.
Read the whole damn list. Just read. Where are they? Take a guess.
So we will not get a 1 versus 2 matchup to open the season because Texas is number 1. Penn State is the number 2 team in the country to start the 2025 season. Ohio State at 3 and Clemson at 4, Georgia at 5 rounds out the top 5. Florida cracked the top 15 at number 15. Slightly surprised to see Florida ranked ahead of, say, Ole Miss, who is coming off a season where they were knocking on the door of the playoff. And I think, we saw a little bit from both quarterbacks that are coming in as starters this year, Lagway with Florida and Simmons with Ole Miss. But DJ Lagway has that 5-star pedigree. He has dealt with some bumps and bruises in training camp. So Florida, a preseason top 15 team. And South Carolina also cracked the top 15 at 13. Bama is 8. LSU is 9.
A lot of chesty Florida fans in Tampa this weekend.
Oh, yeah? Were you seeing them?
I've got an aunt and uncle that live in Odessa, which is like 30 minutes north of Tampa, and I went out with my cousin one night, and he went to USF, played football at USF, and then has a bunch of friends that are obviously Gators fans and Miami fans and Florida State fans and the rest, but a lot of chesty Gators fans right now, or at least in the Tampa area, or at least in proximity to the bar that we were at. Do you feel, again, you've said this thing doesn't matter, and that Tennessee is 24th.
Mm-hmm.
Are you surprised by that at all, given proximity to what's around Tennessee, and given the circumstance that Tennessee is currently having to work through?
No, not surprised. Ranked a little further back than they were in the coaches poll, which another reminder, no actual head coaches vote in the coaches poll. But Tennessee was 18th in the preseason coaches poll, which was indicative of, that's a playoff team last year that's expected to take a step back, but not such a huge step back. Feels like the floor of that program is high enough to them taking a step back means, 8 wins, 7, if things get bad, maybe worse. I don't know. There's a lot of variables about Tennessee's season. So a little further back then, they're at 24. I'm not terribly shocked by it. And I don't know, they're not going to have a chance for a true resume-building victory until week 3 when they host Georgia, who is a top 5 team in the preseason. So Syracuse, if Tennessee is able to win that game in Atlanta, won't do too much, I don't think, to bump them up the rankings, maybe to 22 or 23. A loss to Syracuse certainly would bump them out of the top 25. And now that I think about it, I'm trying to remember the last time Tennessee has not been ranked outside of the top 25 probably since the 2023 season. I'm trying to remember if they were at any point outside of the top 25 in 2023. They probably were. So it's been a couple years. So, if you care about that kind of thing, if you're a Vols fan, then the Syracuse game suddenly becomes pretty important.
Well, and I think that they were Syracuse, who's coming off of one of the more successful seasons that they've had in recent memory. And obviously, this is expected to be a bit of a down year as they look to recoup some of the talent that they lost year over year. But of course, it's important. I mean, that's you want to come out and make a statement if you're Josh Heupel early and often. And we've talked to Josh Pate about this before. This is as good of a coaching job as Josh Heupel is going to have to do if he's going to maintain his program's position as being one of the 25 best college football programs in the country year over year, despite whatever the turnover might be or whatever unforeseen circumstances get thrown in his direction, like the quarterback scenario, like the Boo Carter situation that they seem to have come out, at least right now, clean on the other side of, and the attrition that draft and graduation and all the other things that come up that cause roster churn, transfer portal and the like. How many people did they lose in the transfer portal this year, by the way?
Tennessee?
Yeah.
Off the exact number off the top of my head, I'm not sure. They didn't lose other than Nico.
Yeah.
Any significant contributors to the portal. A couple of depth guys here or there, your typical portal churn. But no, I think they gained on defense. They certainly gained more than they lost, I would say, with the addition of Colton Hood at quarterback. Offensively, obviously, they lost more than they gained with Nico going out the door.
Very disrespectful, as Taylor on YouTube points out, that the future 2025-2026 season national championship Vanderbilt Commodores are not ranked.
Not ranked.
Disrespect.
Not
They
ranked.
never have been.
But they were ranked at some point last year.
Well, I mean, not in the AP Top 25 poll. Brett McMurphy putting out just minutes ago, Vanderbilt remains the only power conference team that has never been ranked in the preseason AP Top 25 poll.
Preseason, yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
I didn't know that.
I mean, that can't possibly surprise you.
Oh, I don't know. I would have thought
maybe some James Franklin teams.
Maybe in the Franklin era, some carryover there coming off one of those 9-win seasons. I don't know. I'm slightly surprised by that.
More fuel to the fire.
It's also a reminder of some of the college football playoff implications in week 1, where we have a top 3 matchup in Ohio State versus Texas to kick off the season and a top 10 matchup in LSU versus Clemson, as Brian Kelly looks to, for the first time in the Brian Kelly era at LSU, win a damn season opener, which he hasn't been able to do yet, and he is tasked with doing that on the road against a top 4 Clemson team that's expected to be a national title contender. And also high hopes for South Carolina this year, sitting there right outside the top 10 at number 13. I will be curious to see what constitutes a successful season for the South Carolina fan base. They have a brutal stretch there where they go 5 games on that schedule. I mean, talking about the likes of Alabama, Texas A&M, LSU, some of those games on the road. Is it playoff or bust for South Carolina after being pretty much a game?
Should be.
A few points from it last year.
Especially with the screw. I mean, there's going to be, whether the perception is fair or not, Lenora Sellers being what he was last year, and just the assumption that he is an ascending player and potentially, I try not to get into the potential top 5 draft pick before a college football season has even been played. Shout out Spencer Rattler. But, yeah, I think it should be college football playoff or bust.
They are quietly one of the more interesting teams in the SEC.
I can't believe that they were that they struggled as much as they did last year with it. Robert, do you know offhand how many South Carolina players got drafted on their defense last year? Because there was a ton of dudes. It's crazy.
Well, that's the thing. That's why they're so fascinating, because Lenora Sellers might be one of the most exciting players in the conference at quarterback this year, or on offense in general. Dylan Stewart might be the best defensive player in the SEC. Freshman All-American, the edge rusher. They lost a lot in the draft. How do they build around that? With a tough schedule, but high expectations, coming off of a successful season, but one that saw them just barely miss out on the playoff, missing out on opportunities to beat Bama on the road at the death, blowing that lead against LSU, and I think some officiating had something to do with that. So South Carolina is this program where they've got their eyes on the playoff. They may have the roster to do it, but it also feels like there could be this trapdoor into an 8-4 season that their fan base would consider disappointing. So the possibilities are all over the place with Shane Beamer's team.
You're right. That was better than the running back conversation that we're getting ready to have next.
Quickly before we go, who was 17?
Kansas State.
What about 16?
That would be SMU.
And 15?
Florida top 15 team.
14?
Michigan.
13?
South Carolina.
12?
That would be Illinois. If you were good at this, you'd be sending it to break right now.
I tried to talk in his ear and tell him to do that.
Arizona State 11, Miami 10.
So mad.
LSU
That's Titans Radio. Taylor Zarzer, Coach Dave McGinnis. Only points of the night for the Titans came with the first team offense on the second drive, an 11-play scoring drive, 65 yards down the field, 50 of it through the air from Cam Ward to Calvin Ridley. Tony Pollard doing the dirty work at the end. It's always funny to see the reaction from people on play-by-play basis on social media, living and dying with every snap. People mad because the Titans scored a touchdown. Why won't Callahan let Cam Ward throw it? He sucks. Relax. You don't have the luxury after last season of turning your nose up at any touchdown, no matter who's scoring them for the Titans offense. So good to see them capitalize on that second drive after a first 3-and-out. Now, let's talk about the rookies at large, because it's not just about Cam Ward. You're looking for impact across the board, and you were probably left a bit wanting if you were looking for impact from rookies across the board in this game.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's not much to talk about with rookies not named Cam Ward.
Which is why I think it's worth talking about, and we will do so here in just a second. But I've been promising for, an hour and a half of the radio show that we're going to take calls, so we will take calls, 615-737-1045, if you would like to chime in on what you saw on Saturday night in Tampa Bay. Let's start with Tony.
Hey, good afternoon. I think it's noon, maybe.
It's not.
Okay, well, good morning. Good late morning. I wanted to give some observations on what you all were talking with the stock in and stock down. I'm right in line with Lucas. Talked all weekend about it looks, the defensive line or the defense just in general just seemed to let Tampa Bay run all over them, with the exception of, I think, Cedric Gray had a really nice game, several tackles. The L'Jarius Sneed situation is all down, if you ask me. There's nobody to really replace his skill. Plus, how healthy is he going to be when he gets back is a big question for me as well. So I just think overall, I don't think that the Titans really played very well. I think that their depth is a major concern. And when you talk about the amount of injuries that the Titans have had over the last several years, that is a big question mark going into this season, because, you guys have all talked about it on the shows this week. You need depth, and we don't have it. So, that's going to be very important to keep healthy. I think the biggest upside, Buck, the pocket looked pretty clean, didn't it, for Cam? I think the offensive line held up pretty well. I wanted to get one question from you guys.
Oh, come on. You let him get his question in.
I don't make the rules. It's 60 seconds on the clock. We appreciate the call, Tony. Yeah, the pocket was nice. The second drive in particular. 60 seconds on the clock before the Oscars music start. It is cruel that the audience that the callers can't hear the Oscars music. I did not know that until you guys did that to me with the training camp updates. That is there any way that we can let them hear that?
No.
Okay.
You have a stopwatch ready with you.
I have.
Or just be succinct. I know you have a clock because you get in my ear whenever I don't start the music on time. It's like, music?
I say it 55. I used to start it at 45. Now I wait till 55.
Buck, I don't think there's any greater joy in your day than when a caller rambles on too long and Buck gets to go, music,
because
in my ear.
Listen, some of them, if you let them, like, I'll hear 3HL once in a while, and it's like a 7-minute call. Like, you got to get the bleep out of here.
Oh, God, it's like a couple that call. People that have, like, conjoined Facebooks, like man and woman.
I think we have a couple of them in the chat today.
They call sometimes. I'm like, oh, my God. It's like John and Laura. It's like, get Laura and John off the phone.
Yeah, it's okay. But, yeah, pocket looked good. L'Jarius Sneed, concerning. Depth is a problem on a bad football team that's looking to replenish not just top-line starters, but depth as well. And we are you can turn an NFL football team around in two off seasons. I feel pretty comfortable saying that.
Saturday just generally felt pretty par for the course, right? The rookie quarterback is promising. We think it could be fun. The connection's been solid with Calvin Ridley. We've seen that in camp. And there's depth questions all over the place, as expected for a team coming off a 3-14 season. Like, I don't think we learned anything significant about the Titans on Saturday night.
No. That they are appreciably worse than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers top to bottom. Okay.
Yeah. The Bucs' depth is better than the Titans' depth.
They got a quarterback now,
sure.
And maybe they have an offensive line.
Which, as we've talked about, the Bucs probably don't get enough credit for the way they've built out their team through the draft. The vast majority of Bucs contributors were drafted by the Tampa Bay Bucs.
615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to chime in on what you saw on Saturday night, and do so in 60 seconds, or we will give you the Oscars hook. But with that being said, Lucas is correct. There is not a lot to pull from the rookie performance, save Cam Ward. And even Cam Ward only got 14 offensive snaps. So the thing that I think you are most disappointed in, if you are a Titans fan looking for rookie player impact, is Femi Oladejo. Got pretty well stonewalled.
Yeah.
No, he had a pass rush win rate on Pro Football Focus of 0.0, Mr. Blutarski. And that is not something that you can afford to have. I mean, you can afford to have it because you were not going to have a good pass rush to begin with, but you were hopeful, or at least you are hoping, that a rookie second-round pick can come in and give you some juice in some form or fashion, and Femi Oladejo did not do that on Saturday night.
Yeah, Jihad Ward had the Titans' lone sack of the night. And they didn't do a whole lot.
And Draymond Jones should have had one, but the field was trash.
I was going to say they didn't do a whole lot to affect the quarterback for most of the night either.
No, because I looked over at Sus. There was a, by the way, just quickly as an aside, really keep Jimmy Wyatt and his family in your thoughts today, because it's the first game that I've ever done without Jimmy. It's the first game Jimmy's missed in 25 years. His father passed away here recently. He's been in hospice care for quite some time. Those of you who know the Wyatt family and his father, who's been an institution as a judge in Nashville in Davidson County for quite some time, but they lost Jimmy's dad here this week, and we are thinking about our friend and his family, and hope that things can just that there can be some comfort in the support that we can offer them, and that you guys can offer them. And I know Titans fans care a great deal about Jim Wyatt, and we're confused as to why he was not at the game, but I didn't feel comfortable talking about that on the broadcast.
Jim announced it this morning that his father passed away early this morning. So thoughts to the entire Wyatt family.
So anyway, my point with that is because there was an extra seat between me and Sus, so I looked over at Sus and said, not really an impactful night. Like from a pass rush standpoint, I just wanted to make sure that I was not seeing something different than anybody else was down the line, or that I wasn't missing something because I looked down at my phone for a play or something like that. It was not an impactful night from the Titans pass rush, no matter who was out there, though it was good to see some of those guys getting involved that names Titans fans probably don't know, in the way of Cam Horsley, or maybe you're aware that Jihad Ward is signed to replace Lorenzo Carter and things like that. You're going to be looking for bodies all year long that can give you some level of impact. You would hope that Femi would be one of them. A second-round pick is somebody that you expect to be able to contribute right away. That was not the case on Saturday night.
Yeah, save for some positives on a couple of individuals defensively. We mentioned Jarvis Brownlee Jr. getting some good snaps on the only series that the defensive starters got to play. James Williams and Cedric Gray played a lot in this game, and I thought they flashed. Cedric Gray, the co-leader for the team in tackles, alongside Timmy Horn with 7. Aside from that, hard to take away a lot of positives for the defensive side of the ball.
No.
On Saturday.
No. The only solace that you could take in the defensive side of the ball is that they're not showing different looks or trying to confuse.
Yeah, and they're without two of their best players.
Because Chris, or who was that that pointed out? Oh, yeah, Chris on YouTube says it'll be different with guys like Key and Simmons on the line with him, talking about Femi. Arden did play. Arden did play in the game. Draymond Jones, who expects to be your other starting edge player, did play.
Really, Jeff and Tavondre were the only major missing pieces defensively for the starters, right?
I think everybody
obviously
else,
Snead, but
just cycling through, Snead. But Snead is a non-factor until
Kevin Winston,
we see proof of life.
Kevin Winston wasn't active as well.
So, and Kevin Winston is somebody who's they're slow playing right now. I know people are starting to get a little suspicious about, hey, what's wrong with him, but I was talking to some team executives on what would have been Friday, and they said that they probably should have been a little more cautious with him at the start rather than letting him go, what was it, 5 straight padded practices, 100% go off the ACL in his first training camp, because he's been very, very active and very, very involved, and they love to see that, but there's wear and tear that has to be accounted for as he works his way back from injury. So nothing, at least for now, the line is nothing to see here, just trying to be careful with him.
So not a whole lot from the rookies outside of Cam Ward. Gunnar Helm, 1 catch for 16 yards. By the way, Gunnar Helm School, the number 1 preseason ranked team. Quick aside, I didn't realize this. Texas has never, until now, been ranked the number 1 team in the AP
You are
preseason
dying
poll.
to talk about this thing that you told people doesn't matter.
I'm sorry. That's insane, right?
It is insane.
I'm very surprised by that. Anyway, can we hear from Cam Ward on what he thought of his night, his preseason debut for the Titans?
Good, just for us to get more than just 3 plays under our belt, for us to get a rhythm as an offense. It's a lot of guys' first time playing together, but it felt good to come over points.
How did things go for you? How you feel like operations-wise, making sure you got guys in out of the huddle and everything?
It felt good operation-wise. We really didn't have any MAs. I think the biggest thing was just us being able to play in a real game atmosphere together, getting a vibe of each other, and then playing together like we did.
Was the speed of the game about what you expected?
It was. It's not really too different from college. It's just more being, I would say, alerted on third downs. Just the cans that you can get to in Coach Callahan's offense, and then just getting the ball out when it needs to be out.
That first one to Calvin, protection was great. He was like 6 yards wide open. Could everything around you have gone any more perfectly than that to set it up to work?
No. O-line, I think that was a big reason why we were able to move the ball in our second drive. Those guys that came up front, and they had the mindset to go get it. And they gave me enough time to put the ball in Red's hand, let him make a play. Then they were the reason why we finished off that drive with points.
Did you have a play on the third down on the first series in hindsight with maybe Jefferson coming across?
That was second down. The third down one, the timing wasn't there from the standpoint of what it's always been, but in the game, that's when you just got to be reactive. I got off the pocket too early. I could have painted the ball on Red and Lockett once I looked at this film. But that's just stuff I got to get better at, just being able to play post-snap as well.
All right, so that's Cam Ward, who got to the game 6.5 hours.
He came on the equipment bus.
Restrepo apparently was there before him. Like, what did they? By the way, I didn't see this myself, but I was told secondhand that Restrepo's family was noticeably upset about his lack of opportunity or lack of impact. Perhaps even the quarterback play that was out there with Xavier Restrepo at the time. But I keep reminding people it's nothing against Xavier Restrepo whatsoever, because Josh Pate is also somebody who's lighting me up every time we talk about Xavier Restrepo and saying that's a Pro Bowl wide receiver if I've ever seen one, and he's still catching passes from the third string Tim Boyle. But yeah, I wouldn't make the Restrepo thing more than it is right now. If there are going to be additional opportunities that he earns, he still has time to do that. But I think a lot of people are very attached to UD. There's always one, right? There's always a player that people get overwhelmingly attached to before they actually need to, and it seems that this year it is Xavier Restrepo.
So he got 11 snaps.
Read too much into that right now, and also those 11 snaps came with just Tim Boyle. Yes.
Oh, I'm not sure if he just didn't get any. I think so, but I'm not positive.
Somebody said Restrepo sat on the sideline for 24 hours before the game.
Also, Josh Wiley got 11 snaps. Wiley caught a pass, but he caught it in the fourth quarter of a preseason game, which
all set.
Isn't a good sign for Josh Wiley making this roster.
I think they have long since predetermined Josh Wiley's fate based on how they are approaching this tight end room. So, beyond that, Khalil Mullings was probably the most productive rookie. He was the most productive rookie, not named Cam Ward. He had the most carries of anybody on the team. He was, I thought he's physically impressive. I thought he was a damn edge rusher when I saw him in pregame, because I'm still learning what some of these guys look like without their numbers on their backs. And I was like, who the hell is that giant bulldog, skulled-looking human being pacing, prowling the sidelines like the Predator? No, that's Khalil Mullings, the former linebacker turned running back, who apparently the broadcast had listed at 5'2", 228. Did you notice that, WKRN?
Yeah, I did see that.
Spelled his first name wrong and had him listed at 5'2", 228.
That would be
crazy.
That'd be amazing.
That's my body type.
For a running back, though, that might not be so bad.
He's a manhole cover.
Where'd he go?
So, 7 carries for 33 yards. He had a long rush of 12. Chestnut had the highest yards per carry average. He had 3 carries for 18 in the game, which then takes us to the running back conversation, because Tajay Spears got carted off with a high ankle sprain.
Carted off, but again, he walked to the sideline, limped to the cart, and then was carted to the locker room.
Important clarification.
We're going to call out national people for their misusage of that phrase.
Important clarification by you. So, walks to the sideline, gets put on the cart, leaves the locker room in a right foot boot and on crutches, and opens up some more opportunity for Chestnut and for Mullings, who are competing for that third running back slash core special teamers role. Chestnut is the more experienced player. Mullings is the more physically impressive player, though the ball security issues are something to keep an eye on. He didn't obviously fumble in the game, but that's been a talking point at practices if you've been paying attention to the press conferences or the training camp updates.
Early on, though, when's the last time we saw Mullings fumble in practice? I feel like it was
probably
like week
third
one.
Third or fourth. Well, he hasn't outright fumbled, but he's like let a ball go and then he runs out of bounds.
I think it happened a couple times in the first week and a half. I don't think it's been like this consistent thing that's plaguing him, though, in camp. That is interesting if the Spears injury opens up the door for Chestnut to make the active roster, right? Like if Tyjae Spears is on track to come back in week 2, he could still very well make this initial 53. But it's a high ankle sprain, and that is something that can take a little bit longer. Is it possible that they have to put Spears on IR and miss the first 4 games of the year, opening the door for Chestnut?
I don't want to speak on that. It's way too premature. But it's that could be a scenario that plays itself out. Like if they are at all conflicted about keeping one versus the other as far as the Chestnut Mullings conversation goes, because Mullings is a 6th-round pick. You're not married to him. In any way, shape, or form. I think about, once you get into the 5th round, those dudes become disposable, even if they are rookies and draft picks. You'd like to keep draft picks that have impact, and potentially Mullings can have a special teams impact. But we're still waiting for roster cuts to see what they value more, right? Because last year it was offensive or defensive skill as opposed to special teams impact. They let guys like Hassan Haskins go, and their special teams unit is not a disaster in 2024 simply because I just said his name. What the hell is his name? Michigan running back.
Mullings?
No.
Oh, he's from Cal. I
literally just said the guy who ended up on the Chargers. I literally just said it's
Hassan
Haskins. Jesus. They're have you ever done that where you say a name and then you immediately forget the name? Anyway.
What?
It's just an update or upset he's listening to the show today. Point being, there is opportunity for guys on the depth chart beyond Tyjae Spears. It sucks for Tyjae Spears first and foremost, but unfortunately that's how these conversations tend to go. All right, who's up next? 615-737-1045 is how you jump in if you want to. We would be happy to have you as long as you keep it within 60 seconds. What are we doing next, Bert?
You tell me.
No, you tell me because this was your idea.
Oh, I didn't know we were actually doing this.
My God.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah. We got wet powder moment of the weekend. What's got your powder sopping wet? It's got a paste in your pants. What's going on over the weekend that you want to re-overact to? 615-737-1045.
Re-overact to is crazy.
Also, Khalil Mullings did go to Michigan. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, he did.
I said Cal.
Get your wet powder in.
I'm Buck Rising. It's 1045 The Zone. I am a Two Rivers Ford customer for almost 10 years now, and they've been doing business in Middle Tennessee for over 40 years because they are the best. They go above and beyond to make sure that you have the best of both worlds, whether it's the car buying process, the quality American-made Ford vehicle, or that award-winning customer service that goes above and beyond. And right now, they want to tell you about Zero. That's right, Zero, as in zero money down, zero payment for 90 days, and 0% financing for 48 months on most models. That's right, it's the Zero Summer Sales event happening right now at Two Rivers Ford, where their salespeople don't work on commission, which means there's zero pressure on you during the car buying process. And as a Two Rivers Ford customer myself, I can tell you firsthand that at Two Rivers Ford, you'll get zero surprises because they are honest and transparent all the time. They're A-plus members of the Better Business Bureau, and they've been family-owned since 1983. What you see is what you get at Two Rivers Ford, which is why they are the South's most trusted Ford dealer. So get to Two Rivers Ford for the Zero Summer Sales event today because the sale ends September 2nd. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. A couple of Kerns just popped into the back studio with Robert. I'm scared that he's going to embarrass me or run them off before the noon hour begins, especially when we get ready to do a segment that you have dubbed what? Exactly. What are you about to force down people's or in people's
you
ears?
would have to use that phrasing. It is the wet powder moment of the week because Coach Mack always tells us, keep your powder dry. Don't overreact to these things you're hearing in preseason, you're seeing in these games. But I'm here to tell you that I am going to overreact to them, every single one of them. So I would like to present to you my wet powder moment of the weekend. R.J. Harvey, when he was drafted at a UCF running back this year, everyone was quick to claim, he's going to be the Broncos starter. Look at that room. Audric Estime? How about Audric? No way. There's no way he's going to start. Well, he looked like crap. He looked like the jittery foot guy that he was at UCF with not a lot of skills besides being a scatback. I think R.J. Harvey is going to be a big old steamer this year. J.K. Dobbins is going to take over that backfield. R.J. Harvey being terrible is my wet powder moment of the weekend.
That is so dramatic by you.
Well, that's the
He's played in one preseason game.
That's the whole segment.
How many snaps did he even get?
Literally the entire premise.
No bleep that he. Yeah, it was one game. I prefaced the whole thing up front, and the first thing you have to say is, "It's one game."
What an overreaction!
I want to cuss so bad. I can't believe you'd say that.
If I'm going to, your impression of me is terrible, by the way.
It sounds like Sean Connery.
You silly Sally! I can't believe you'd say that after one preseason game.
I don't ever do a Sean Connery impression. I do the guy who does the Sean Connery impression on Celebrity Jeopardy.
No, it's Daryl Hammond.
Oh, you're right.
Okay. So if I'm not allowed to shout you down for your overreaction, then what else do I do with this segment?
You give me your wet powder moment.
Yeah.
Of the
All right, go ahead, Lucas.
No, he asked you. He didn't ask me. I will say
this is being forced upon me. I will submit one when I'm ready.
That is not true. We had a segment in here, and you said, "Let's do wet powder moment of the weekend."
That's true. I will say,
theater of the mind.
Week 1 of the NFL preseason this year, an exceptionally hard slate of games for your powder to be dry because of how good so many of these rookies were. Jackson Dart flashed for the Giants. Shedeur Sanders had people freaking out, leading the Browns to a 30-10 win over the Panthers. So, I mean, there's options all over the place for you. Oh, Mike Vrabel's Patriots, 48 points in a preseason win. I mean, there are so many opportunities for wet powder in week 1 of the preseason. So, I don't think...
Also, there is not a more televised coach this year than Mike Vrabel. Get him off my television screen.
I know. I'm so fascinated at how that's going to go.
Buck said, get him off my television screen and get him over to my house for a special one-on-one dinner.
Come on home, big boy.
You miss him, I know.
Hell yeah.
Anybody have wet powder in there?
Sure. Josh Dobbs is the greatest backup quarterback to ever live.
Oh, yeah.
That's my
preseason king, Joshua Dobbs.
That's my wet powder for sure. Josh Dobbs was excellent in this Patriots game. So I didn't catch the game live, but it ended up being, 48-18 was the score for the Patriots over the Commanders.
If I'm not mistaken, it's a Patriots preseason record in points.
Is it really? I was listening to Mina Kimes. She did a podcast, a live show in Seattle with Danny Kelly from The Ringer and a couple of other people, and all three of them picked Mike Vrabel to win Coach of the Year this year.
Come on. Like, what would they have to do for him to win
Make
Coach
them
of the
not
Year?
a disaster. Buddy, you're gonna have to eat it all year long. He's going to be all over television.
Like, it's awesome that he got into the middle of a fight and he got a bloody nose from it. That's fantastic. Doesn't mean he can put together a good roster. I also have
if they look like they have a pulse, he is going to be a candidate.
I have a question for both you guys. Mm-hmm. Mike Vrabel, it's his show, right? Like, Elliot Wolf is there. It's Mike Vrabel's show.
Elliot Wolf is probably in an equipment closet somewhere, based on my understanding.
I think we can say that Vrabel has as much personnel control by a head coach as any coach in the NFL, correct? You think we would say that?
Shanahan.
Shanahan has a lot too, but I'm saying
it's Mike's show.
It's his show.
At least Shanahan has to at least work in concert with John Lynch as opposed to Ryan Cowden working for Mike Vrabel.
Exactly. Those people work for Mike Vrabel.
Yes.
So you guys, help me out here. Name me a head coach, can be current, can be at any point in our football lives, that had personnel control, was good at it, right? A successful head coach that had personnel control over the roster, that is not an offensive-minded head coach.
You could say Bill, right, to a certain extent before it all fell apart.
Famously, his draft.
I think that's when it started to fall apart.
After Tom left and Mack, but like before that with Edelman, Welker, like all the people he brought in, like I mean, you can look at that free agency where he brought in Hunter Henry, the other tight end.
It definitely tailed off. Like the Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry free agency spend, which was something he never did not go well for him.
How long did Bill have roster control, would we say?
Whoa.
At what point did they make
probably
that
after the first three
switch?
Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I don't remember offhand.
All right. Well, if he won Super Bowls with that sort of control, so it got bad towards the end.
And he also had the greatest quarterback known to man, who's got a 12-foot statue and is telling Jets fans, you have something to throw your beers at now.
Anyone else? Because Andy Reid, I don't know if there's a correlation here, but Andy Reid, offensive-minded. Kyle Shanahan, offensive-minded. Like, just help me out here.
Yeah, I don't know any of them personally, so...
There's not one that comes to mind offhand. Again, it's a fascinating experiment that Titans fans may. They're probably already annoyed with hearing it, but the comparison is going to be unavoidable. This is like
Sean Payton, offensive-minded.
This is another example of like their Traylon Burks, A.J. Brown thing where they're just going to have to hear about it until it's over. You know, like week 7, the lead up to week 7 is going to be particularly annoying in both markets because this is all that's anybody's going to talk about.
Quickly before we go to Lucas's wet powder, I want to commend
Didn't
you.
you already give it? Didn't you already give it?
Not really.
You didn't really listen. Okay. Nobody really listens. We don't even listen to our own show.
We're just waiting for the other ones to stop talking so we can talk.
I do want to say that was a great wet powder moment because if I would have seen just his stat line of 5 of 12 for 45 yards and a 2-yard rushing touchdown, I would say no. He is not the greatest backup quarterback of all time. You could say Ben Waldridge, who went 9 of 12 for 132 and a touchdown, looked better than
I watched Kyle Trask dice him up, baby. He may be the best backup quarterback of the weekend.
So I love that you're leaning into the wet powder. I love that. Those are the kind of takes that I'm looking for. Something that maybe no one else could possibly agree with, but like you believe it.
It's a fun thing to do, to be able to be like, all right, preface all of these things by saying this is half-baked, all right? We're not actually serious about this. This is the kind of stuff that you would argue about with your buddies at a bar and just, argue for the sake of arguing. You can't tell us we're loud wrong if we preface it by saying, yeah, we're not really serious.
Tyler says ESPN's powder is soaking over Shedeur Sanders. I'm going to go with another backup quarterback in Trey Lance with the Chargers. Trey Lance, after flashing, he was fantastic in the Hall of Fame game against the Lions, did it more on the ground over the weekend in the Chargers' 27-13 preseason win over the Saints. He had 7 carries for 48 yards, including a long of 17 and a 5-yard touchdown run. So I'm going to say Trey Lance turning into maybe actually a capable backup quarterback in the NFL is my wet powder moment.
It would be a huge credit to Jim Harbaugh if he's able to salvage that.
Yeah. Tyler Shuck did some good things, I will add.
He did throw a pick 6 too, but then right after throw a bomb.
Threw a beautiful bomb.
You're about to have 2 wet powder now. You need to keep it.
All right.
See, I was hoping you would be like, well, Justin Herbert might get hurt with Rashawn Slater out for the year, and the Chargers may need Trey Lance.
I'm just
that would be taking it would be what's it called when you mix cornstarch and water? An oobleck. That would be an oobleck of wet powder.
I just am so scared of the imaging that's going to be.
Oh yeah, it's going to be terrible.
It's going to be great.
They're going to get in so much trouble.
If you thought
at least once.
If you thought the sec dungeon made you uncomfortable, God only knows what he's going to do with dripping powder.
By the way,
what did you say? Paste in your pants?
Yeah.
Come on.
It's out of context. All of this sounds
I love when Lucas gets like too offended by us doing things on FCC Safe Radio. Come on. Come on, you guys.
It's like, I'm all about it, but sometimes it's like...
it wasn't me. It was him.
It's like, sometimes it's like we're 13-year-olds trying to do a Barstool podcast. The Saints, by the way...
Well, we'd be better at it.
Looking at their box score, the Saints are just a collection of the Where Are They Now game that we played earlier. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a Saint.
No.
Cam Akers is a Saint. Velus Jones Jr. is a New Orleans Saint.
Wouldn't have had that.
I had one this weekend that I was like, ooh, it would be good for the game. Where does A.J. Dillon play his football this year?
Oh, I feel like he's not a Patriot, is he?
Is he in Philly?
Yeah, there you go. Lucas watches. Lucas cares. A.J. Dillon. They're
Unless
assembling.
He's at practice and then he doesn't care at all.
They're assembling the Quad Fathers in Philadelphia. Him and Saquon together, just comparing legs.
Saquad. How has nobody done that?
I'm so glad that Brett Kern is here to make this a professional operation. Brett Kern in studio next. Premier Generators. Have you thought about installing a home generator in your home? It's actually easier than you might think. We have Sean Merck with Premier Generators on with us to answer our questions. Sean, for our listeners out there, how easy is it to install a home generator?
It's more straightforward than most people think. Premier Generators takes care of everything. We take care of the design, the permitting, the installation, so you don't have to have the stress about all the details. There's no guesswork. And with our free 10-year warranty, you can call us today at Premier Generators for an appointment so you can be power outage ready.
The time to call is now. Make it a point to call Premier Generators today at 855-POWER-IS-ON. That's 855-PWR-IS-ON. Or go to their website at premiergenerators.com.
It is 12:01. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Titans opened the 2025 preseason with a 29-7 loss to the Buccaneers on Saturday. Cam Ward got 2 series in with the starting offense. He finished 5 of 8 for 67 yards. All 5 completions came in the second series, 3 of them for 50 yards to Calvin Ridley. It was a 65-yard touchdown drive that finished with the Tony Pollard 1-yard touchdown run. The AP poll for the college football season is out, and the University of Tennessee comes in at number 24. Texas ranked number 1 in the preseason for the first time in program history, with Penn State at number 2 and Ohio State rounding out the top 3. Some other SEC teams include Alabama at 8, LSU at 9, and South Carolina at 13. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
That open is particularly apt right now when we talk about talking to the best and brightest, because this show is notably very dumb. So we decided to outsource the best and the brightest.
We're the worst and the dimmest.
And Brett Kern felt so sorry for us the last time that he sat down with us that he said, you know what, I'm going to come in and help you guys out during football season. Y'all need somebody with actual football acumen, somebody who's going to prepare and be professional, as this job usually requires, and that we bring such a lack of professionalism to. Thank you for coming in and hanging out.
It is my pleasure.
Is this your charity work for the year, for the football season?
You can write this off.
Okay. No, I just enjoy, talking football, talking shop, just be with you guys. The newest law firm in Nashville here, Kern, Rising, Panzica, and do we dare add?
And Bert.
Bert can be the paralegal. I don't know if he's made it to full attorney status
I can
yet.
recuse myself because Buck, Brett, and Bert sounds way better for a law firm.
That's a billboard on 65. Here we come.
And then throw Bryce in there, too.
No, Bryce infinitely more qualified than any of the three of us. So we could honestly just let the Kerns host the radio show, and the audience be better off for it. But Brett has been kind enough to lend his time and his talents to us for the football season. We're happy to have him as a recurring guest. It's going to be you. It's going to be Ben Jones. It's going to be Nate Washington and Jason Fitz on respective days of the football season. And Brett is the first one to stick his face into the buzzsaw and come in here and try to help us talk about preseason football.
Yeah.
He said, yeah. I guess I'll go first, boys.
But, it is meaningful football.
It is meaningful football.
There's you have guys out there that are trying to earn a job. And I think it's important for a lot of these guys, too, to get game reps. Practice is very important. Don't get me wrong, but you're going against your brother, right? You're going against your teammates. And so it's nice for these guys to finally go out there, get some game experience, and go against somebody else and try to earn a job.
What is a preseason sideline like?
It's okay. Do we have like a pet peeve session?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we have one of those?
That's the whole show?
So like CeeDee Lamb, right? He's in street clothes.
Yeah.
He's not even watching the actual play. He's watching on the Jumbotron.
He's waving to fans.
He gets smoked by that ref. Whiplash, right? And preseason is just chaos, right? You got guys that are playing. You got guys that are, focused in. I remember for myself, there's games where they might say, hey, look, you have the first half. Hey, you have the whole game, right? And you're mentally preparing for that, right? And then you have guys that are in the first series, second series. Then they come out at halftime. Now they're in street clothes. And they're just on the sidelines having a good time, talking. They might come over to you and chat. And you're like, man, I'm still trying to stay, zoned in here for this game. And it's so preseason is just... You have 90 guys on the sidelines.
So many people.
You have half the guys in street clothes, right? Having conversations. You're walking through, seeds that have been spit up and, sticking to your cleat and all that kind of stuff. And it's chaos. But it's also, like I said, a great time to watch these guys play. A lot of these guys are, they might wear this uniform for the last time. And so they're going out there giving it all they got. And that's fun to watch.
Well, and I want to ask you your perspective, because 14 years, if I'm not mistaken, in the NFL for you? 15 years in the NFL. And you've seen all manner of different phases of what that's like to try and earn a spot, to be the vet who's, can obviously not worry about job security and then competing at the end of your career, famously. But I am going to ask you who the least self-aware preseason sideline teammate you ever had was, because I'm going to bet it's Taylor Lewan.
Yeah, he's probably up there. He's probably top 3. Because Taylor, I mean, I love him to death. He's a great teammate, but he just couldn't sit still. So he would just randomly come up to you and, have a 3-sentence conversation, and then he'd leave. You wouldn't see him again.
Try to book you on his podcast. Something like that.
Yeah, that was before, but even, after he got the podcast, he was talking about that too. So, Taylor's a good one. That's he was kind of the, if I could compare like a CeeDee Lamb type situation, that'd be Taylor. Except, if the ref ran into Taylor, the ref would feel that.
Yeah.
Although,
For sure.
I don't know. You remember that Baltimore game where Vrabel got trucked by the ref?
That's true.
And Mike is not a small human being.
No, he's
not Taylor
That
sized.
ref moved him.
Well, I mean, look at the refs now. Look at the refs now. They're all jacked. They're pumping iron. I mean,
don't underestimate the
everybody
refs.
got self-conscious after
they have
Hockey
gyms.
comes out there.
They have gyms in the stadiums for these refs to work out before they go ref, to make sure that veins are popping out. They're swole.
But what a juxtaposition of guys just chilling, borderline bored, of these established starters next to guys that are literally fighting for their lives.
It's crazy when you think about that. The guys are fighting for their job. They're staying locked in, and then next to him is a guy in street clothes just chilling.
Screwing around.
Just would rather just be back home.
Pageant waving to the fans because he's on the Jumbotron, because the Jumbotron people are trying to get some pop from the crowd. So let's go through like the start of your career when you start out in Denver and trying to earn an opportunity there, and the value of preseason, the intensity, the mindset that requires, because like I said, you are uniquely qualified to talk about basically every part of a player's professional timeline that you could possibly go through.
Yeah, I mean, Denver was hard just because I was battling against a guy, Sam Pelescu, and so we were rotating every punt. So he would take the first one, I would take the second. And in my case, I remember my first preseason game, we were at Houston, and Jay Cutler was the quarterback. He went 3 and out. Sam gets the first punt. I had the next punt. You know when that came with? 3 minutes to go in the game.
You're kidding.
I did not have my first NFL preseason punt until it was like 3.5 minutes left in the game. And then we rotated holds.
What's going through your head at that point?
I couldn't feel my legs almost the whole game, which is a terrible feeling. Because usually, you're nervous for the first play. Like in my case, it was, the first punt. You didn't know what was going to happen. Could it be backed up, in the back of the end zone? Is it a plus 50 punt? So you're just, it's the game day juices, right? And you get the first one over with. You're like, all right, here we go. I'm locked in, ready to go. But that was really tough to wait till 3.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But thankfully, I had a couple holds. We rotated holds. But that's what it was for the preseason. That was 4 preseason games. And so for 4 preseason games, we rotated every single special teams play.
So, and then to go to the opposite end of things, when Stonehouse gets picked up as a UDFA and you're in an active competition, what was that kind of like for you? Because obviously you had been an established player for some time, but you still played in the preseason, unlike some of these dudes who were playing, offensive line or quarterback or D tackle or what have you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was, I got the first half. I think we played at Baltimore to open up. I got the first half. He got the second half. And then I knew when he got the full last game, right, to give him the full game of holding, punting, all that kind of stuff. That was tough, just because obviously I played here for 13 years. I've taken a lot of reps in Nissan Stadium, and so to see somebody else just kind of go in and take a full game and see somebody else do your job, that was pretty tough. But that's just a part of the business. So
it's such a unique experience to professional football, because everybody has layoffs or hirings or firings in their respective job, but that's very visceral, and it's also publicly televised, and people are talking about it on social media. And I know you are somebody who does not spend a ton of time on social media because you're smarter than the rest of us. but like that's such a unique thing to professional sports and athletes that way, that I think it's hard for people to relate to, even though they can relate to the day-to-day of what it's like to try and keep your job.
Right. And you're getting evaluated every day, and it happens so fast, right? Training camp, you're looking at a month, right, from when the start of training camp happens, your 3 preseason games, and then there's cuts. So, you have a month. I mean, yeah, you have time before that in, May, June, but a lot of times you're not in pads, you're not in helmets. There's a lot of install. You're learning a lot of things. And then, for you to try to win a job in a month, and you really have no control over your reps. Yeah, you can control your attitude, your effort, all that kind of stuff, right, to try to get more reps. But I mean, you have no control if the other night at Tampa, it's like, man, I only got 10 reps, right? And that's how the game fell. It's like it's Cam Ward. Your first series, you go 3 and out, right? I think that's why they say, hey, we're not going by halves or quarters. We're going to go by series, because if you have that first series where you go 3 and out, you want Cam to to end it like that, right? And so it's tough. You don't know how the game's going to work out. Like in my case with my rookie year, it's like, well, we're rotating every punt. Well, he got the first one on the 3 and out, and then I have to wait until almost the end of the game to get my first rep.
Right.
So there's a lot of times too, you're trying to win a job in a month, and then like how the reps fall, how many reps you get, it's extremely hard.
So Cam Ward gets 14 plays in total, the 3 and out, and then the 11-play touchdown drive. All 5 of his completions on that drive, 67 yards, 50 of those yards, and 3 of those completions to Calvin Ridley. What were your overall impressions of the rookie's debut?
I thought it was good, solid. I think it was really good to see like the offensive line protecting, and like Cam had time back there, which was refreshing. And I think even on that third down, I know Coach Callahan said, I think it was the wide receiver releases in his presser and all that kind of stuff. But to see Cam roll out and just kind of throw it away and just put it in the dirt, like I said, you always have the right to reserve to punt, right? Because Johnny comes out, his first punt, 46-yarder out of bounds on the 20. Great. That's not going to kill you. And so I think to see that rather than trying to make a play, I think there's, conversations in camp about throwing across his body, across the middle. Like, is that going to happen in the game? And it didn't. So he threw it away. Okay. You fight to live another day. You move on. And so then he comes out and they put together a great series, especially, I think, Buck, you mentioned it earlier, with Calvin's offensive pass interference, it's 1st and 20. I think in years previous, it's a 1st and 20. And you're like, well, okay.
Where's the pick coming? Or a punt is the best case scenario.
The punter's already on the edge of the sideline at that point.
He's already loose, ready to go. And but no, how do they respond? Right, 2 completions right in a row, really, and off we go. And Pollard ends up finishing in the end zone for a touchdown.
From a locker room standpoint, when you guys had broken in a couple of different quarterbacks across your career, whether they're veterans who were stopgap, whether they're rookie draft picks, and things like that. Who had the most impressive rookie preseason to you from a quarterback standpoint, where you guys are looking around, looking for the next guy and being like, all right, I think we got something here?
Kyle Trask. No.
He was pretty good, man. Pretty good.
He's lighting it up. I'm trying to remember. That's a good question.
Because Locker was before I got here. Mariota, right. I remember. That was my first season. And then, Levis's situation was different because he got hurt. I believe you were on that 23 team.
I wasn't.
I was in
preseason. Yes,
in the preseason. So that would have been Chicago because he got hurt. He did go in there.
He got hurt in Minnesota. Oh, he got hurt against Chicago.
Yeah, that was the first preseason game that they played that year. So I didn't know if there was one that stuck out, because I'm always curious to see, all right, what does the locker room think of what's actually happening out on the field versus what we have, because you guys obviously have much better context for what's happening out there.
Yeah, I think preseason is tough too, just because some guys, you always kind of took it with a grain of salt. Like, like Tampa, was Vita Vea, head up over Corey Levin? No. Yeah. I love Corey. I played with him. He's a great guy, and he's doing a great job with Cush out, right? He's doing a very solid job.
Longest tenured Titan, baby.
Right, but he didn't have Vita Vea, breathing down his throat. So, I think, he was kind of always took preseason as kind of with a grain of salt, because some guys wouldn't play, and then your starters aren't playing, and then maybe you have a mix of starters playing, and then your twos are out. There's just a lot going on. But as far as this probably doesn't answer your question perfectly, but I just remember distinctly when we went down to Tampa and Marcus tore it up. And
that was week 1.
And that was week 1 against Jameis. And I remember thinking oh yeah, here we go. And we went 2-14 or 3-13.
That was a 3-13 season.
It all runs
That was
together.
Coming off the 2-14
right
from the year prior. Yeah.
But even during preseason, I sometimes I'm not even watching, what our offense is doing.
Sure.
It's more like, hey, what's going on, with special teams. And I'd have my guys that I would watch. All right, this guy. I remember telling you the story. I'm trying to remember what year it was. I think it was 2015 or 16. That when we went out for our starting punt unit, preseason game 1, right? The 11 guys that went out, that was our starting punt team. when we started week 1, I think we only had 5 guys of those 11 original on the preseason. It's chaos. And so I'm trying to watch guys that I'm like, okay, he's starting at PP. Okay, how's he doing on defense? And I would literally just watch him on defense. I have no idea what's going on, during the play.
Sure.
I'm just watching this guy because he's my starting PP.
I need you to make it.
I need you to make this team. And so that would happen a lot. I just watch guys. I remember watching Nick Westbrook-Akine. I would just watch him play. Like, how is he blocking, right? Is he getting the ball thrown to him? Watch him during practice, because I knew, like, I want this guy to be my gunner. And so that's kind of how I approached watching preseason games.
By the way, Marcus's preseason debut against the Falcons, 7 of 8 for 94 yards, but the only incompletion was an interception.
Okay.
Zach Mettenberger kind of tore it up in that game.
I remember Zach kind of tearing it up a little bit. He has a cannon.
Head coach at Father Ryan.
Yeah, the Met Show period was an interesting period in Titans history for sure. Brett Kern is I don't know if he's kind enough or if he's foolish enough to spend an hour in studio with us, but we're going to do this all football season long, bud. So we'll get into the special teams element of it, because obviously that's a huge part of the preseason. Brett has brought very detailed research, and many of you seem to have questions based on the YouTube chat. So we'll do that with Titans legend Brett Kern coming up next. So, how do you want me to kind of work this through? Because I want to make sure that I get to as much as I want to make sure I get to the stuff that you.
Well, I have this stuff.
That is the fumble recovery by Davion Ross.
No, Ross punched it out. Joshua Bledsoe fell on it.
Able to jump on the ball there. Titans radio on the call. Titans do lose their preseason opener, but, preseason you take with a grain of salt. The points are not the most important thing. Well, the points are the most important thing when your starting offense scores the points in that situation. Brett Kern and Bryce Kern are hanging out in studio with us. Brett is going to be one of our weekly recurring guests during the football season because Robert, Lucas, and I are dumb. And we need smart people.
That's not true.
The audience probably agrees with
Robert
us.
is a wealth of knowledge back there.
Renaissance man.
Who knew about, what was it, water and what was your concoction?
Did you?
Oh, the oobleck. Yes. With cornstarch. If you add enough friction and heat, it becomes a solid. But as soon as you stop moving, it becomes a liquid again.
I mean, see what. I'm smarter today because of that.
He does have a wealth of knowledge about the most random things.
Useless
that don't matter.
knowledge.
Yes,
So, yes.
Useless knowledge is something that is his level of expertise. It's our level of expertise, but we needed something a little more pointed, which is why Brett Kern is here. So, the Big Three. You talked about the Big Three in your last appearance with us on the radio show. Just for the audience who may not have heard that hour that you did with us or may not quite remember the overarching theme of the Big Three and the value that you and teams place on it, can you walk us back through the concept?
Yeah, I think, the Big Three is it's a great way to look at a football game from the 20,000-foot perspective without trying to get into the play-by-play. What was this concept, on a Boyle interception? Was it a poor throw? Did Mason Kinsey, run the route a yard short? Was the protection? Was this, you can try to get into the nitty-gritty of each play, and that's hard because we're not in the room evaluating. We don't know what the play call is, all that stuff. And so without kind of going down that road, which can be a dangerous road, I think the Big Three just really helps with, when you're watching a football game, some of the things to look at as to maybe why your team won or why they lost. And so, the Big Three, turnover margin, which is huge. That is a huge stat in the NFL that I think a lot of people don't look at very often. But, if you're +1, you have a 68% chance to win. +2 is 82%. +3, 91%. +4, 97% chance to win. So if you can win the turnover margin, obviously you're already setting yourself up for a better chance to win the game. And so turnover margin's huge. Rushing is huge. What's your net rushing versus your opponent? And then the quarterback rating per se. So if you're, take a look at example last night, Titans went 0-3, right? Which stinks. But, the Kyle Trask MVP favorite.
Yeah.
Right? For preseason.
Early preseason odds.
Yep.
They should
him and
do
Trey
a
Lance.
preseason MVP.
They really should.
Him and Trey Lance are probably favorites right now, if I had to guess. Not Quinn Ewers, but
God.
Was Quinn Ewers bad? I missed it. What he did.
It's rough.
A bunch of sacks.
Oh no,
2 fumbles lost.
It was messy out there.
It's okay. Anyways, I regress. Tampa, between their two quarterbacks, 91.6 rating, Titans 21.4. Obviously, Tampa Bay won the rushing, 178-66. And the Titans had 3 turnovers. Tampa had 1. So obviously you go 0-3, you lose the Big Three. And so I went back and I looked 2020, the 2 playoff years, 2020, 21. And then I took 22, 23, and then last year. And I kind of combined them all, went through each game, did the Big Three, all that kind of stuff. And so if you can win the Big Three 37 times, the Titans did that over the last 5 seasons, right? They won 31 of those games. This stat is not 100%.
Sure.
Right? And that's okay because every year the Titans have had a hiccup. Even 2020, 2021, they won 2-1 against Pittsburgh, still lost the game. The next year they won 2-1 against the Jets, lost the game, right? It happened 3 times in 2022, right? A lot of it, those last 3 times in 2022 became with that nice little losing streak to finish the season. We all remember how that ended. So you're going to have those games where you win it, but you still lose the game. Conversely, you're going to have games too where you lose it, but you still win the game, right? And that happened, twice in 2020. They lost 1-2 against the Vikings. They lost 1-2 against the Texans. But They won the turnover margin against the Vikings pretty handily. I think they won it by +3, which obviously now you're getting into the 90% chance.
Was that
of
the
winning
Gostkowski game where he struggled mightily in Denver and then he just was excellent?
And then just
in
went like
Minnesota?
6 for 6, like 3 over 50.
Because God love Malcolm Butler. He was hanging on for dear life against Jefferson.
Which was
that might have been
Jefferson's breakout game.
Rookie year.
Playing in that stadium in front of like 200 people.
Yeah.
Extremely weird.
Eerie.
It was eerie.
Yeah.
You could hear Vrabel loud and clear.
Well, it had to be. Bowen got COVID. He was patient zero.
Oh yeah, that was. Oh yeah,
We can tell COVID stories another day.
That's a whole nother segment. And then the Texans later that 2 weeks later we lose 1-2 against them. We still won the game, but we outrushed them 263-92. So sometimes when something's so lopsided, especially those Derrick Henry years, there was 5 games where we lost the big 3, but we were able to overcome it because Derrick was just out of his mind. And so anyway, so I went back and looked at the 5 years. There was 37 times they won, and that equated to 31 wins, so 84% win percentage. So if you can win the big 3, right, it gave you an 84% chance to win the game. Now the losses, 37 of them, it equated to 32 losses, so there's an 86% chance. When you lose the big 3, you're going to lose it. And then the ties, so it's a 1-1-1. Hey, you can win the turnover battle. It's just, there's no turnovers. So it could be 0 turnovers. Both teams had 1, maybe both teams had 2. You tied that. One would win the quarterback rating. The other one might win the rushing or vice versa. And so there's 10 ties and only 3 wins. So 30%. But if you look at it, 2020 to 2021, they were 2 for 3. So 66% from 22 all the way to last year. Those 3 years, they were 1 for 7. So, obviously, depending on the team that you have, the skills that you have, are you able to overcome certain, the quarterback rating wasn't the best, but hey, we outrushed them. We killed them in rushing. Turnovers were a tie, right?
You're just trying to give yourself the best percentage chance to succeed.
Correct. And so, I just look at this big 3 stat that, I've been kind of keeping track of for 5 years is just a way to look at, honestly, it could be an NFL game. You could be watching a Vols game, college game. And it's pretty true to, like I said, 86% chance when losing, 84% chance. I mean, that's a pretty high statistic. So, this big 3 is just something to look at when you're watching a game. The rushing, the turnovers are huge, especially where they occur. Turnovers can just be one that can stop momentum, change field position, and a lot of those times, those are pretty hard to overcome.
So, of those big 3, Brett Kern, former Titans punter, in studio with us. Which do you feel the Titans could be most well equipped to win consistently in 2025 between QB rating, turnovers, which were a huge issue last year on both ends of the spectrum?
Right.
Titans defense was one of the worst at forcing turnovers, and we know the offense was one of the worst at committing them. And running the football, understanding Tyjae Spears picked up that ankle injury. Of those 3, what do you feel the best about right now with this team?
That's a great question because obviously last year your defense got 18 turnovers, which was average, right? It wasn't great, but you committed 34, which puts you dead last with Cleveland, right? And so the turnover margin, the turnover margin's huge. If you look at the 14 playoff teams this year, 12 of them were in that top 14, right? So there's 2 teams that were in the top 14 in turnover margin that didn't make the playoffs. Can you name the 2 teams? I'll give you a stab at it.
That were not in the top 14, but made the playoffs. Not in the top 14 of turnover margin.
They were in the positive for turnover margin, so they were doing great, but they didn't make the playoffs. There's 2 teams. 2 teams.
Oh.
In Washington, honestly, if you cut it down to 15, Washington was 15th. So you could say if you're looking at top 15, right? 13 teams were in the positive for turnover margin.
Bengals?
Yes, Bengals were +3. They were 14th.
Yeah.
Is it an NFC team?
NFC.
Trying to think of the best teams that didn't make the postseason. I don't know. Seahawks? I don't know.
Seahawks were 10-7. You're right.
They had a rookie quarterback.
They had a rookie quarterback last year.
NFC.
Oh, Chicago?
Yeah.
What?
Chicago was +8.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb Williams didn't have a lot
And their
a lot of
defense was
turnover
good.
issues last
Their
year.
defense was good.
Yeah. So
I don't think anybody would have, if you were to give people 10 guesses, they wouldn't have.
Yeah, but it makes sense. Like Caleb Williams, the issue was not giving the ball to the other team for Caleb Williams last year.
Yeah. It's So turnover margin is huge for the Titans. So if they can improve upon 34 turnovers, I think honestly turnovers they can definitely improve upon. And I also think quarterback percentage. When I was going through all this stuff for last year, I was like, oof, these are some tough QBR ratings. And I think Cam has the opportunity to definitely improve upon that. I think he can obviously help with the turnovers, and then I also think he can help out with the percentage.
Tim Boyle, Saturday night, hold my beer. A 0.6 quarterback rating is not something that you want to see.
That did not help to the 21.4.
That's like the Ron Burgundy. Like, I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed.
I've seen Tim Boyle play a lot of football, and it looks just about like that, respectfully. So let's talk about the actual game itself from Saturday. So how do you watch special teams, understanding what you know versus what the audience knows? And where would you like to start? Because I think a lot of people have questions about Johnny Hekker and what you may have seen from him and from the operation around him.
So I believe earlier in the show, a Mr. Robert had a stock up for special teams. Is this correct?
Bert is engaged in conversation right now.
Oh, him and Rhett are just... They must be talking ball.
They're fighting about something, it seems. That or telling Brett is telling.
What do you want?
I have a
Do
bone.
not yell at Brett Kern like that.
I'm yelling at you like that.
We were just seeing how long it would take for you to start paying attention.
The second you started talking that crap about me.
When the Titans legend asked you a question.
I'll happily answer any question that...
Go ahead, Brett.
So you had stock up for special teams, correct?
I had stock down for special teams.
Oh. Are we sure about this? Is there a replay? Can we rewind?
He doesn't.
I can go find it. 1 second.
He doesn't remember what he said.
What were your thoughts on the Titans special teams Saturday?
Okay. Well, I mean, I thought I was also...
They had to educate him. Tell him why he's wrong.
What? Well, I feel bad if I'm wrong now. I could be.
I promise you, between the two of you, you're going to be the one that's right. Okay.
I know. I was curious to see, who was taking that opening kickoff, who was taking that first punt. Prochet takes the first kickoff. Jackson took the second kickoff, but he also took the first punt return.
Yes.
So I was curious to see kind of how that went. The opening kickoff by James Williams, that tackle. Kickoff is interesting now just because if you hit a touchback, it's going to the 35. So there's going to be a lot of returns. So I thought, honestly, that's your first play of your season. And for him to go down there and get a tackle inside the 20 was huge. But for example, Hecker's second punt, it was a 17-yard punt return. The Gunners were down there. The returner made a great job. That's what he's trying to do to make the team as a returner. Splits the Gunners. He goes up for a 17-yard return, but then there's a face mask, right, on Jacobs. So now you add 15 yards to that. It's, in essence, a 32-yard return, if we're talking about hitting yardage, right? So that would count as 32 yards of return yardage. And now they start at midfield. So now you've kind of lost that field position game because, the ball's at the 50. Cam Little, apparently in Jacksonville, that you're already in his field goal range.
Doesn't matter.
70-yard field goal. Doesn't count.
It's crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
In Jacksonville in particular, Brett, that's not Denver. That's not elevation. That's hot. That's humid. The ball is not, prone to flight there. And he drilled it. I think he could have got it from 75.
Should that count as the NFL record to you?
My longest punt of my career was against the Steelers in the preseason and got called back.
What was it?
It was like 82, 83 yards.
Oh, it got called back because of a penalty?
Yeah, it got called back. We backed up, and now I'm standing in the back of my end zone. I was already nervous enough with the first one, standing on the goal line, and it just didn't count.
Preseason stats should count that way.
Asterisks.
Yucked your yum on stock up.
I'm going to go special teams, but bang, stock down.
That was stock down. Okay, that was your stock down.
I apologize. You know what? You need to come up with a mashup button for me and my...
No, you know
mistakes.
What? It's not a mistake. It just means you're officially a member of the show now because no one in this studio listens to anything anyone else says the entirety of the show.
That's not true. I've listened to Brett the entire time he's been here.
Because Brett is engaging. We are...
But also, to prove you wrong on that, Robert, I believe part of your argument was we didn't get to see Joey Sly. And you wanted to see the Titans put Joey Sly in a position to show something in the
To kick a field goal, yes.
Yeah.
Well, he got to kick an extra point.
He did kick an extra point.
Extra point. And 2 kickoffs. It's great. So you take the 32 yards, in essence, that they got of return yardage, right? And then you have the Brochet 33-yard kickoff. You get the holding on Mason. So in essence, that penalty negates the 33, and now you're backing up another 10. So now you lost 43 yards. So right then and there, you take the 43, and the 35, and you add that together, and you've lost your hidden yardage. So something just small like that, is something that hopefully that Bones and those guys can work on.
It's going to be a talking point. God knows it probably was for them. Brett, they went straight from Tampa Bay to the airport, to Atlanta, and then an hour ride on the bus to Flowery Branch. I think they got to the team hotel at about 3 a.m, so I'm sure there was some level of film review going on there, but certainly meetings had the next day to that effect.
Don't miss those days.
Were you at all surprised that Jaquan Jackson was the first guy back there on punt return?
Not really, just because, understanding Bones. I mean, you have to understand there was 13 returns last year for touchdowns and special teams, right? I think it was 6 on punt, 7 on kickoff return. 3 of them came to Turpin, who was in Dallas.
Yeah,
that's Bones. That's his boy, right? And so if you look at Turpin's kind of frame, he's smaller, but he's super fast and he's physical, right? I think Bones is kind of like, hey, look, it was your rookie season last year. You're kind of the body type that I want at returner. Let's just keep giving you more reps.
He said clean slate.
Well, and that's the thing because you're asking based off of his benching last year. And John Fossil came in and said, I mean, I watched what they did last year, but I didn't watch too much of it because that's not how I would coach. I don't want to hold things against a guy if I'm going to coach things in a different way than what my predecessor did. Like, I thought it was a very good example of how coaches should approach this to give guys like Jaquan Jackson a chance. And also, Brett, something else that was at least theorized, there's no quantifiable evidence to this effect, but the idea that they might be trying to hide James Prochet for whatever reason, if they feel better about Prochet and Jaquan Jackson, because he didn't get a ton of work in the joint camp practice either.
What year is this Prochet? Is this 6 or 7?
He was a 2020 all-rookie punt returner, right, Robert, for the Ravens, if I remember correctly?
Maybe.
6th-round pick in 2020. Yeah.
So he obviously has film. I think it's kind of harder to potentially hide somebody like that. But I was curious just to see how the reps were going to shake out. And here's the other thing, too. Like, I saw DK back there on a kickoff return, and he had the longest kick return of the night, 32 yards. And so there's also the potential, too, for, like, if Prochet doesn't make this team or Jackson doesn't make this team, now all of a sudden the guys that you've been getting reps at in preseason on kickoff return and punt return aren't there. Okay, well, you need to have in special teams, like, I promise you, Bones has like A, B, C, D, E, F for his returners, because there's a chance that A, B, and C might not make the team.
Right.
And so now it's like, okay, well, I got to make sure that D is getting X amount of reps too, so there's another opportunity. Like, Chestnut could probably return. I think he's done in the past, and then obviously DK getting a return too. Like, why not?
They're going to have to keep their options open. We have a lot more to talk about with Brett Kern, but we don't want to take up any more of his valuable time. This was fun, bud.
It's always fun.
You sure you want to do this every week?
Yes.
Sicko.
Yeah. All right. We'll see how.
I couldn't believe that Ben and Nate and Brett were all willing to do this on a weekly basis.
We love to talk ball. It's fun. And the Titans, for me, and I know Ben too. Like, the Titans are, near and dear to us, right? And there's not a team that I want to do better than the Titans.
Well, and it's going to be. I'm glad to have you guys around, not just because I miss being around you guys in the locker room and stuff like that. And you all were all enjoyable to cover, but. Because this is, this season has promise because of the quarterback situation. And I think that you guys being a part of the analysis with us this season is going to be very welcome from Titans fans, because they're going to want to know every little detail, no matter what the wins and losses look like, about, okay, are we making progress in the right way, even if the record doesn't necessarily indicate that this was an overwhelmingly successful season, which is always possible that way.
Well, look, I'm trying to take things from like I said, a 20,000-foot perspective with the kind of the stuff that I have here, stats, and just scratching the surface. But you get Ben and Nate. Ben, you want to go into the nitty-gritty and the X's and O's and play calls, and that's a guy that called protection at the center position for a long time, and he knows a lot of football. So if you're looking for the surfacey stuff, a little bit of stats, a little bit of numbers, I'm your guy. But if you're a listener and you really want to get down to the nitty-gritty, Ben and Nate are going to be your guys.
Ben is grit is definitely a word that would be used in conjunction.
You can talk a different language in football. His football ease is second to none.
Well, he's somebody famous for his availability, but he took the first week off because he's homesick.
Oh no!
On to you, Benny. Brett, thanks for hanging out.
Absolutely. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
man.
That's Brett Kern and Bryce Kern, kind enough to hang out in studio with us as well. They'll be with us each and every week. Last call for phone calls. If you got them, we'll update some polls. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Speaking of the best, Blaine and Zach, they're coming up next. They'll keep you entertained. React to the preseason game. I'm looking forward to hearing the Hitman's analysis, and I know Zach and Stoney and Dyson had a fun time on Titans Talkback as well. I didn't get the opportunity to hear that in Tampa, but I'm sure it was well received by all. It's going to be a fun football season, whether it's us with the guests that we've got during the regular season, the Lee Company show with Brent and Blaine and me. Lucas is handling game day obligations on Titans. It's Titans Countdown is the pregame show.
Titans Countdown is pregame, and the Locker Room Report is network postgame.
The Locker Room Report, network postgame. Should we grade Lucas's performance? I know he's very self-critical about all these different things. Robert, or you want to give him a grade?
An F.
An F.
Oh, it was a failing grade. You were terrible.
This guy stinks.
We'll watch the tape and improve. Better or worse than Tim Boyle?
You are absolutely the Tim Boyle of network pre and post game hosts, bud. People were so confused. Did you get tweets about the pregame hit with you and me? Because I got several messages about, oh my God, you guys actually sound professional when you try and take things seriously. I was like, yeah, we don't like doing that very often, but when we have to, we can do it. There's really nothing else for us to talk about, and I guess it's time to do polls.
No, we can't do polls right now. You got to wait a little bit.
It's 50.
You don't want to talk about? Oh, I did something this weekend.
Okay.
When's the last time you guys saw a good
have
movie?
Enough BS in here today that you want to work some in?
No, I thought there was BK in there earlier.
Oh, stop. I saw a good movie on Wednesday. I saw Sketch, which was filmed right here in Middle Tennessee. Great movie. Go check it out.
You showed me that. I did not go see Sketch. I went to go see Weapons. It was
I hear a lot of good things about Weapons.
It was, I will, the easy comparison for me, it is this year's Long Legs. You'll remember Nicolas Cage was the villain in the horror thriller mystery last year. It is very akin to that. I don't think it's as good as Long Legs, but I did think it was very, very good.
I am going to have 5 nights in a Buford, Georgia Marriott to kill time with. The Titans are staying at some chateau. It's a very lovely, it's like a winery just outside of Flowery Branch, where there is also a lovely golf course, apparently. I'm not staying there. But I'm going to need something to do for 5 nights in Buford, Georgia. So any and all media, movie recommendations, TV shows, please send them my way because I'm heading on down there tonight. This was almost cruel. 36 hours at home feels a bit cruel. But I don't know. That 4 a.m. bus ride that they had to take coming off that Tampa Bay game, that's a lot of strain they're putting on. Yeah, the degree of difficulty of moving a football team around to 2 different cities for 10 straight days is kind of crazy.
Yeah, no one's forcing you to go. What are you complaining about?
No, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, like, that's a lot of strain on, like, the ops people that the audience probably doesn't, think about in their minds, the ops people, the support staff, the coaches.
Yeah, me either. They don't think about me. You think they're like, yeah, the Buck Rising show's so hard. No one ever thinks about the producer. Yeah, that's our job.
Oh, I'm sorry. What is so hard about this show?
You. You is what is hard.
Well, lucky for you, as you drink out of your fish tank flask.
I can't get over that.
You guys, I'm going to bring some tomorrow, and y'all are going to try some.
This is the only day that I'm here this week, so I'm out of here.
You're not even going to be here for Friday?
Why would I be here for Friday? That's the game.
Dang, that's when we're having the station's birthday event, where we're bringing in all the dancers and the entertainment.
Buddy, I'm going to Atlanta. Wings and strip clubs are what is on offer. You can keep your dancers.
That's unfortunate. Well, they're male, so.
Poles.
Generally, they have those.
Presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Which Titans player stock is up after the preseason opener? A few submissions for James Williams, the linebacker.
James Williams is a good one. I think Corey Levin. I think stock up Corey Levin. He acquitted himself well. Stock up offensive line, but if we're making it specific, I thought Corey held his own.
Yeah, Tyler says starting O-line. Chris says QB1. Det says Khalil Mullings. Stock up. Which Titans player stock is down after the preseason opener. Scoop says, I hate to say it, but Tajay. Brandon says Femi Oladejo. Brian says all the edge rushers.
Femi and Tajay are probably the two that are going to get the most heat, but that's what joint camp is for. You watch the tape, you improve, you see if you can't do better in preseason game number 2. Obviously, that's not the case for Tajay, but specifically for Femi.
Johnny says Van Jefferson. Ken says Xavier Restrepo and Josh Wiley.
Yeah, we
didn't see enough from Van just because he didn't catch a pass in 2 drives. I don't think stock is down. Van Jefferson's on this team. Wiley Restrepo
or not.
Yeah.
If you made me make a 53 today, I would leave both of them off.
Describe Cam Ward's performance Saturday in one word. We have a submission for fine. Ryan says satisfactory. Chris says appealing. Karen says hopeful. Hulk says encouraging. We got a few hopefuls. Jonathan says rookie. Daryl says refreshing.
I think my word was solid.
I had promising. Robert said efficient, I believe. Could Robert Walsh have had a better passer rating than Tim Boyle, 0.6? 73% say yes, 27% say no.
Oh, they're down on you. They're down on your abilities. Doubters and haters, all of them.
How many people said no?
Only 27%.
Yeah, man, that's pretty good. I did have people in the replies being like, as long as it was a screen. Y'all don't even know. I'd read the field like a book, like a Harry Potter book. Y'all don't even know.
Those are the polls.
Like a Harry Potter book would take you 6 days.
Maybe in Mandarin.
That's the show. I'm going to leave Tweedledee and Tweedledum alone for the rest of the week. We'll have practice reports tomorrow. I'll be with you guys for the noon hour. Tuesday and Wednesday, primetime tonight. We'll tape it before I leave. See you in Georgia.